Spoon television. Spoon radio station. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moreover, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vonjama, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat keep my grandchildren, my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? Yes, I do bad today. Spoon TV. Yes, I do bad today. Spoon TV. Spoon.
Welcome to the program Spoon Talk. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, fellow Liberians. This is a program. My name is Baron. James Good day, Flomo. How are you doing from Poland?
I don't want your speech.
I mean, why you want my speech?
I don't want your speech. You want me to get your speech? I don't want your speech. How you doing?
Well, God money us.
You say you won't fire me, then I'm gonna be friend with you.
Yeah, you know I would dismiss you. I don't know if how you come on.
Why are you Basel people like that?
I tell you.
The way you dress so now, I saw you, Jenna, and said, "Oh, watch out, we are in studio."
Oh, but you know, I learned it from you. I like your style on the Fagon, not because I'm on this radio. I learned it from you. You might not man, but listen, I tried. It was yesterday. Please check your WhatsApp. I tried calling you, but unfortunately, you didn't pick up.
When you
I
see
see
that,
why you were calling me back to back.
Probably that black you thinking you are a scammer. But on a very serious note, oh my God, are you there?
250 LD.
God, tell you if the people in radio land are listening, but when they can see you via television, and on social media.
Oh yes.
I just want everybody that listening, y'all don't call and say y'all get problem. I come from the other place. I get school fee. Y'all please wait till after the show. I mean, I get real. Got you back. Y'all lead that story. I am broke. The person that get small money, that good day.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because you know he near the war soon, so they're giving that war benefit.
Yeah.
Where?
Oh.
Where?
I thought they said when the Russian fire missile power pulling, all right, I can get 1G.
For a while, but missile can pass over us, yeah.
But let it pass.
And I only learned on this side one time, but that was close to the border, not even around us.
My brother, when I learn that one more time, because you know about war, like, bro. Next time you learn that, I know your bad part, you on your way out.
No, but Recently, my city was voted as the best city in Europe, where people should go, the best destination for tourists. So we're not even thinking about war on this side.
But then I
If you
think
just
good I need to
if you
come
visit
and start.
Europe, they are telling you Poland is the most safer place for you to be, specifically Warsaw.
So between me and Byron, who you were rather with if the poor guy one ticket and say Byron and Eugene Fagon, just bring one. Who you bring?
You want.
I will care Baron.
Yeah, because the way the man can dress, the man will
But
attract female.
this is the same Baron who is canvassing to dismiss you from school.
Yeah, and the same Byron you say you want now. You see, you can confuse the Liberian people. The man will say one fire, that man say, "Can I papa prefer you?" They don't different from Liberian election, eh? They put like a supper, then they put it there for.
Oh yeah, that's true. You wicked to them.
Yeah, but anyway, what we got today? Let's look at the show. What we got?
Well, so from my end, what is trending from my end, the president this morning when we woke up on the executive marshal website, he has called on his appointees who have ambition to run for elected positions or to relinquish, that various positions in accordance with the code of conduct.
Wow.
Yes.
I
So
hold you right there. Let me show you said before we go
Yes.
into detail. You get another one to come with, but let me just ask you the late tricky question, and maybe James can chip in. The code of conduct he was referencing, and the code of conduct say you must resign 1 year prior to election.
yeah,
But I hear say, and I read say that two things. I heard say,
I
and
heard say
he said, but 7 months back.
that's it.
But it sounds to me, people like who they then they just go steal somebody, Sonny. The person was having 1,000, could they go steal 800, and the person say, "Oh, could they steal my money?" He said, "Look, I just 800. Where's that?"
But I think it still show we still see a little respect for the law there to say resign. Not like what happened.
But you get the thing I say. You see, law are not power. Law say you must resign 1 year at a time. And look out, 7 months, 7 plus 5 are 12 months. 5 months they put him resign. So to you now, Kude, let me ask you this. If somebody carry you to court, Kude, to say you broke the law, you did not resign 1 year prior to the election. So you will say, but any president just told me about 7 months ago. Kude, you will say in the courtroom?
No.
The law is the law. But anyway, go ahead. Fill us in again the show looking to say.
I mean, that's the one trending issue, coupled with the University of Liberia, what happened yesterday. Those are the trending issues in the country and the code of conduct. There are many people who are giving their own views that the president, he's one of the main people who have been violating the code of conduct. Glaring evidence when we saw EPS officers wearing, CDC barriers, T-shirts. So from my end, this is what I have.
And the U.S. ambassador's statement at the opening ceremony is also trending, correct?
Yes. Yes, the U.S. ambassador.
Okay. And James Goodday, what are you hearing from your side? Easy. You do a head at it. Hold on 1 minute.
Baron, continue. I'm trying to.
Where you want to show? You want to show the chicken passing the door? Say when it was sit down and listen.
I
Somebody
get it.
calling someone somewhere.
Yeah.
No, I'm calling regarding the show.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, see, you Baron, you see that photo?
Yes.
I took that photo from somewhere. If you look carefully, the chicken know that July 26th, so Christmas Day, or New Year Day, or all kind of day, people can eat it. The radio on, the chicken just passing by a business like, I beg you, I waste your time. I got short time here. But then the door say, I'm not moving from here until the president speak.
Yes.
You can see the door saying, I'm not leaving until the president says something. That door been waiting for 5 years now, let's be honest. And I don't know how long he will sit down there and wait, but I chicken know that Christmas coming. What the next holiday say? We in March, eh?
Yeah, March.
But
And
today
today is
is a
holiday.
holiday in our country.
Yes, today is holiday.
And nothing trending on the holiday.
Nothing. Mm-hmm.
Why you
Well,
think that is so good day? You mute her. I think people tired with J. Rao or what?
We decorated Joseph Jingy Roberts' grave today.
Yeah, but it's a holiday. But I mean, it's like, is it that people don't have money? Or is it like people weary? Or people don't care again? What's the issue?
People celebrating, I call my friends, they were on the beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the momentum that William V. Storman, birthday has, it is more than that of Joseph Jingy Roberts.
Yeah. No money in Liberia. That's how it is. No
I know.
money.
I want for someone got to correct me here, but I did not see a statement from our government concerning his birthday. I hope to be corrected. Probably I'm not on top of this information because I've been checking on this identical information.
They did not issue proclamation.
Yeah, proclamation. And it is not well, celebrated in our country. This identical day.
But it appears nobody cares anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wonder what J.J. Rao did that made people, they don't care much about his holiday.
And again, not just Joseph Jingy Roberts, right? Nearly all of the former presidents that passed away, I think this is one of the curses that own our country. We don't take care of their grave for generations that will come to see them. Yeah. Joseph Jingy Roberts' grave has been forgotten. It has been forgotten.
But the place that he said a real grave, the reason why I asked you.
Yeah, I've been there when I was in high school. I used to go there.
I'm talking about that kind of PB rock then the teacher now on it say.
Yeah, that great. They said that's where they bury him. His entire family, his brother, mother, wife. I think one or two brothers.
Today, you know something about history.
Yeah.
It's difficult to follow, my dear brother. Now, and I said this because I'm older than most of you guys. You know, how you call Kude Flomo. Flomo is a popular name. Byron is a popular name. But
no, Byron not popular in Liberia.
No, the man got a last name. You think I meant last name over there? I meant similar name over there. You're looking at Byron.
Don't mind it, James, man.
But you know, there's something bothering me. John Kizet, y'all ever found someone that Kizet in?
I have a friend
with the last name Kizet.
I have a friend in Liberia, John Kesse. I'm coming. I want to get his name.
Kesseh, not Kesse.
Yeah, yes, I have a friend like that, a journalist. He lives on the 12th Street.
We're talking about John Kesse. For that, we'll be looking for Bob Gray in the family.
Yeah. I have a friend on the 12th Street called John Kesse.
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 We're looking for John Kesse. K-S-S-E-L. So, Kesse.
Yeah.
John Kesse was that man they went and bought away somewhere there near Buchanan. Then Bob Gray too were there. How about the Ashman family? Y'all can find it.
Ashman Street?
Ashman Street.
Ashman Street is named after Juhudi Ashman. But looking for the Ashman name.
I saw one or two girls with that name before.
Juhudi?
No, Ashman.
Ashman.
Yeah.
No, the Ashman they been talking about. He talking about Ashman they get him first name.
I'm talking about last name. Last name, I saw two girls. I used to be friend with two girls with that name.
But you know, one thing, you made a very good point. You say we're not caring for our lost leaders. I think, in my opinion, I wasn't able to fight for it in this government. If God permits me and spare my life, I intend to fight for it in the next government. The idea of having Joseph Jingy Rao birthday, Tubman birthday, I think we should have President's Day, where on President's Day, we go to Tauber grave, we go to Tubman grave, we go to Joseph Jingy, all the graves we can find, we clean them very nicely, and we pay tribute to them. Maybe the minister of state go this way, the president go that way, the pro tem go there. You know what I'm saying? Then you just have that one birthday and people don't care. And I can tell you that one reason why people celebrate Tubman birthday, because it is the birthday that brings the alcohol outside, and it's in November where people can go to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so, I mean, people will celebrate that one. Other than that, I don't see. But good day. You say you didn't have anything for good day.
No, I was just talking about that. Basically, today is holiday in Liberia. When it is holiday, newsmakers don't really move to make the news. But what happened today has to do with the declaration. And we saw again, for the past 10, 15 years, I've been seeing Joseph Jenkins Roberts' grave. It has always been the same from high school days to professional life and up to present. And it may be that until I leave, we saw it like that again today. And we did not even see the president or whoever to go there to pay homage to the first president of the Republic of Liberia, a place that should be for generations that will come to go and say, yes, this is the first president of Liberia, like in the United States. So we did not see a better celebration today. And the last one has to do with the U.S. ambassador's statement. His statement is the talk of the town. Late this afternoon, the U.S. embassy posted the statement finally on their website. It was not there since yesterday. They posted it today because many people were doubting it, that it was fake. And they said due to some, their webmaster was overloaded, so they had to wait. And they brought it up today finally. So we have it now up. Liberians now, I think some are now believing it. But at first, majority did not believe it because the statement was not up. So those are
I'm getting that even JJ Roberts students did not go there.
Yeah, and they also have the JJ Roberts scholarship.
I think there is something you touched on, you didn't go into detail. And Baron, let me pull you in on this one. James said this is our first president. In America and other countries, everybody revere their first president. And today the government acted as if, because I think I saw something with the education minister standing to the monument, but the program was just like some kind of a small church thing, you know what I'm saying? But Baron, let me pull you in on this. Do you think it's time for us to say President's Day, and just give all the presidents, past presidents, all of them that are dead, just give them one day like it is in America? Give them all a big holiday, and people can hang out with them somehow. You think that should happen now?
Well, I think the suggestion that you just proffered, I agree with you that we should set aside a specific date, to have a President's Day. To me, it doesn't make sense that you have Joseph Jenkins Roberts' birthday, William V. S. Tubman, all of the president, because today, look at today, do you know what it did to our economy? I mean, the day was not even observed by the government to the fullest. We have to say this, So yes, I agree with your suggestion, and many people have said that we should have one day. It should be legislated where we'll have president's birthday, all of them, whether from Joseph Jenkins Roberts straight to Georgia or whosoever, whether it be Joseph Boaga if he takes over, or Georgia if he maintains state power, or whosoever. We should have a one day set aside to say, okay, all of our presidents, let us come together to celebrate them. So I think it is a brilliant suggestion that you just made. But again,
yeah, we're not talking about their burial because Wednesday will come. Any responsible governor should be able to send the military out there to clean each of them grave, paint it, and do everything, because Remember, as president, they were commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So the armed forces owe it to go and clean your former commander-in-chief grave with the family. But just one day, President's Day. Let me welcome Leo Nupulu Johnson. What I can call you again? Library man.
You don't want to get a minute anymore.
Now, only you know library are the smallest thing I've done in Liberia. I just spent another 150,000 United States dollars on 80 Liberians. You got to call me the $150,000 man too.
Okay, something on your name like yes.
Wait, I can't catch it.
We got 80 Liberians selling in Nikutan, in Raleigh, and in Carisburg. They finished 7 months of training that we conducted, and each of them I get them $450 US as a grant, not as a loan, through the MasterCard Foundation for a project that I wrote. So maybe start calling me the $150,000 man too.
So if you give 450 to 80%, it will not reach to 150,000.
No, they're not getting the money that reached 150,000. I told you we just conducted 7 months of training. For each of them, hold on. And each of them got a brand new smart mobile phone, by the way. Somebody are actually watching right now as we speak.
How much a mobile phone cost?
Each of them mobile phone was $780.
The mobile phone more than the president money. So
you see the problem is that the mobile phone that are not bluffing thing. We loaded it with loaded. No, you hear the one. You were actually listening. The mobile phone, they're not bluffing thing. That it have preloaded apps on it for them to use for accounting and marketing that were built specifically for them.
Yes, I will go do accounting on our phone.
Yes, you don't know that. You don't. Why? So why you thought the 7 months training what for? You think how to go?
Gamen will do that accounting.
Gamen does a better accounting than your business people that are only shop in Liberia. Now what Gamen?
Don't run away. We need you here soon, quick. Anyway,
so good. Gamen can send 5 children to school selling better ball market. She does a better accounting than even some of us.
No, that's not my point. That's not my point. My point is where Gamen is going to take her smartphone like this and do accounting.
Loosen up.
Gamen get smartphone. Good day. Gamen get smartphone. Already?
Yeah, man, I get time for that smartphone. She get her little phone that she will call and say
hello. That is the biggest lie you have ever told on this call, because some of the women that we met. Some of the women that
start being serious. Didn't let too much serious people on the show.
I let laughing, Benny. I let it be serious. You leave me where you're laughing.
See, trouble.
I already ugly, so you want me find my post? No,
but the full money more than a grand.
No, it's actually not more than a grand. So good day. How much have you given a Liberian women in Liberia too?
No, that one. When I like to ask you that question, the money too plenty.
Oh no, the money plenty. No, that's good answer. I want you to good answer.
No, I'm the moderator. I can let it man answer.
Good answer the question.
So we're gonna say welcome to UJ Fadiga. My dear brother, welcome.
Thank you so much, man. Our raising
hope.
Not the one that can talk, not the one that can read.
Oh, okay. We just making sure. Folks, it's 4:23. We were pushing this thing. Let's get into some serious business. The Liberian People Station, the Liberian People Program. I'd like to welcome you, Al Hussein. I'd like to welcome you, Leo. Baron, stay with us for a second. And I would like to welcome you, Good Day, as well. Let us begin the ball rolling with what Senator Dillon said. And then we'll go to the release of the 6 students, which I believe will take us to the 4:30 mark, where we will begin the discussions on the ambassador's statements as Liberians see it. So Good Day, if you have that, I don't know if you have it, but let me report to you that we've received reports and confirmed that the 6 students within the custody of the Liberian National Police have all been released. We don't know what the details are as to whether they were released for good or they were given bail or what have you. We're still checking those details out unless Baron got something to tell us that we don't know about the 6 students. Is there anything you got on your books, Baron?
Nothing
there. So, but we know they've been released. That can be confirmed, but we're not sure as to whether they were released just like that or on bond. But we're trying to get Good Day to play us the tip from Senator Dillon. So I'll take the first round with Leo Nupulu Johnson and ask him, Do you think the government did the right thing releasing the 6 students?
I would say yes, based on the laws and their constitutional rights. Whatever they had these students in for, they have a limited period of time on our constitution that they either have to charge them with the crimes that they felt that they committed or whatever that is and take them to court. They cannot keep them beyond a certain statutory period. So in my opinion, if they put them in for questioning or actually had charges to levy against them, they had a period of time to actually do that and release the students accordingly. If they have to go to court, they can go to court and be able to actually defend themselves. But beyond the legal aspect of it, given what happened and what we all saw, I think in the best interest of de-escalating this situation and not heightening the tension any longer, I think it's a good move to have the students actually released. Because if you're going to arrest your students or start arresting people for what happened, then you have to round up a lot of people. I would like to see Akaras Gray to the police station for questioning. I mean, Representative Gray. I would like to see Representative Koluba to the police station for questioning as well. If you're not going to actually do that, then it's a very difficult situation to tell us why you would be arresting these students exclusively from a situation that we saw with all kinds of people being involved and people who actually instigated it from the very beginning.
I could move forward to Al Hussein Fadiga. I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think the government made the right move?
It's always a good thing to when the government not incarcerating people. First, as far as those children are concerned, they shouldn't have been there in the first place. We all know what precipitated this incident, and if they go to prison, we should be looking at Akaras Gray and all the other people, key actors. And we know that would not happen. So I think it's a good thing. They I don't know who spoke to them, but I think it makes sense. I do not have all the details yet. I don't know whether it's permanent or it's just a temporary thing because, like Leo said, legally they can only hold them for a certain time and charge them. I don't think any of those guys have fly rates. I don't think this was almost like an afraid situation. So we didn't expect them to be in jail for that long, except where they were violating their constitutional rights. So it's always a good thing to have them out. As more details emerge, we'll know whether it's permanent or they're going to go back. The government could release them today and then bring some other charges against them tomorrow. So I can't say much for now, but we'll be monitoring and we hope that it's permanent.
Good day. Do you have that tape ready with respect to Senator Dillon, please? No, not yet. Okay, if the tape is not ready, then of course, we saw what happened. May I add my voice? I think if the government released them, the government did the right thing. And the reason why I said they did the right thing is because, one, you cannot hold them more than 48 hours without charging them and sending them to court. On what basis did you arrest them? If you're going to be one-sided, if your justice is going to be selective, then it raises the question of credibility with our justice system. We saw the whole thing go around. It was not just the students. Others were involved, Zogos, bodymen, bodyguards, lawmakers, and what have you. At this point, I will ask, I welcome Isaac Tupa and say, my friend, you're welcome to the show. So now we're going to move strictly to our 2 minutes opening. You are at liberty to open up on what is on your mind. You know, Facebook can say, what's on your mind? So today I'm going to ask, starting with Leo, my friend, what's on your mind?
Thank you. The president's J.J. Rawa birthday you guys was talking was actually something on my mind. And what I was reflecting on is the fact that we say one thing and do another thing. First of all, in Liberia, we've embraced, developed, nurtured a culture of utter disrespect to our leaders, period, past and present. To the point where we've built a society that says, if you're not let a leader, let everybody disrespect them, including what our opposition ruling past presidents. So my question is, on what basis were Liberians supposed to be observing J.J. Rawa birthday when nobody, even in our schools, are actually teaching us? How many students can tell you what J.J. Rawa legacy is and what J.J. Rawa did as a president during his regime? How many history books do we have to find in Liberian schools that you can say, doing when J.J. Rawa was president, or yeah, he had 10 achievements here and so? In other countries where President's Day are are commemorated and celebrated, you hear very specific things about, this president, whether it's Kwame Nkrumah, whether it's this person. You hear why people celebrate these leaders, in spite of their shortcomings, because every leader has shortcomings. In Liberia, no, we only wait for the holiday. In fact, we celebrate the holiday more because we're not going to work, because we're not going to school, because we can go chill. There is no national agenda around educating our population, especially our young people. And then you hear older people tell you, oh, you young man, you don't know what was going on. How will know what was going on when all the old people take it to be moral, that they only know the history to their self, and they will not share it with nobody. Then when you say something that they feel is not right, then they come at you. Until we can start to show the importance of our history and start to critically analyze it, who played what role, who did what, and not just the J.J. Roberts of the world. The Nesua Koko then too. I want to hear their names. Let's put our leaders out there. Let's celebrate them. Until that is done, it's going to be very difficult. The next thing that is on my mind, I will kind of wrap up here, is the state of affairs in Liberia. We have this attitude that one day we say we want the country to be better. We find all the places that we can find the examples. And then the next day we say, well, like Liberia, man, that thing, it will not work. We just got to do it the Liberian way. We make a lot of noise about what should be done, but most of us who make the noise do not demonstrate in the simplest ways how it can be done. When we go to Liberia, we participate and endorse all of the things that we say should not be happening.
30 seconds.
When we come back in the diaspora, we talk about how the country should change, how this is supposed to work. Let me give you some practical examples of how the country can work.
You got 30 seconds, sir.
We need to start demonstrating, those of us who say our mindset has been changed and we know better, the things we say, the things we do, the things we don't do. So that's what's on my mind.
Thank you. And as moderator, I must remind you, your generation don't know much about Joseph Jenkins Roberts. But I'm sure Isaac Faktupa would tell you they flock him bitterly to say Joseph Jenkins Roberts, Stephen Ali Pensy, Gene Springsteen, Anthony W. Gardner. Yeah, you see, so we knew about those people, but this generation finished, you're finished. In all defense, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me. We'll go over to Al Hussein UJ Fadiga. What's on your mind, my dear brother?
Well, I have a lot on my mind, but more importantly, I have this one thing. I know we're going to discuss it in the program, but so I won't go into it much. The audio. Yesterday, we received a transcript from a press conference apparently that the ambassador had. Apparently, people treated it as if it was secret, top secret, and then they started to put up pieces. But you see, in America, they say the devil is in the detail. Now, one of the phrases I love in America, they say the devil is in the detail. And if you have listened to the entire transcript, you will see that there were enough details that the ambassador laid out. These guys carefully copied one portion and put it out to actually deceive the people. We found out that tape, and we'll go into it. So I won't expand much, but that's what on my mind. The next thing on my mind is Liberia. What kind of Liberia do we want? What kind of Liberia do we envision for ourselves? I want to tax all Liberians. I want us to pay attention, to be sincere to ourselves. And at the end of the day, as we gear up towards October, we need to ask ourselves the hard question. Since 1847, our country been at this. Leaders come, leaders go. We keep getting the same thing. Why is it not happening in other countries? Why these things continue to happen in our country? And how can we ensure that we have a better Liberia for ourselves? Well, a lot of us know the answer, but we have chosen the easy way out. Will we challenge ourselves this time around to take the hard way and prepare to make all the sacrifices, even if we lose the election, but make all the sacrifices to get the right people in? And that's one of the things that on my mind today.
Well, thank you very much. I think you've said something that brought cold bombs on me, because you said, why is our country still like this? Ghana, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, Guinea, everybody gone past this great.
In the South, Eugene, we had the same situation with Sierra Leone.
We were even better. Ghana was standing on land for bread. Sierra Leoneans used to come to our country to buy goods. Guineans used to come.
You'll be celebrating normal day trophy then when we get reality, what we're not solving right now.
Leo.
Stop it.
Leo, you see, you're not laughing, now you're laughing. You see, if they shoot him,
You see, more people owe me now.
yeah, the one you thought is shoot him. So
Well,
you
people
laugh
eat
and say,
this.
that's why James Goode can just look at him and say, that joking small, you getting fever. But Goode, say, you will make Leo laugh today. We'll go over to Isaac Fatukpa. My dear brother, what's on your mind today before we go to the American ambassador's statement?
Well, before I start, I just want to say, the good day, man. I think our regime collaborator here, they man.
I'd like to send a shout out to Pearl Bamboo and Mrs. Pearl Bamboo. You're always watching. One of these days, we'd like to really bring you on when I'm moderating because you are a firebrand. I think many of you know her, right?
Yeah.
She called a spade or spade.
Anybody supposed to introduce Councilor Pierre Bamboo?
I'm telling you, she don't joke.
But
We
you know,
need to bring her on to set the record straight. And like that statement you made about Joseph Jiggy Rawa, I wish you were here.
My man, I started singing songs about Joseph Jingin Rawa.
No.
Just tell me what he
That's
did.
it.
no.
Let's go back to Isaiah Fatukpa.
Exactly. So my point is, we have a law. Don't we have a code of conduct law? So why you gotta support a law that you not violate by putting up, or what they call it, by coming with executive order? Then Jim Goode say, oh, maybe he sent us 7 months, he obeying the law. No, they already violated the law. They already dismissed the law. And somebody made it earlier. I mean, this government compromises basically every law in the books, unfortunately. And, you know, the opposition does not hold them accountable like they should, period. That's just a fact. The other thing is, as on my mind, is this whole, you know, I love the fact that Al Hussein brought it up. That statement by the ambassador, we have to hold the ambassador accountable. You can't just send a blanket on media and opposition people in the, in the U.S. and just say your, officials spoke with them and let it ride. So I hope that we'll get some deep discussion on that particular press release, and then shame on those people who are extracting portions and making it look like the whole thing when there were other components of that particular press release or the interview. I didn't listen to the interview, but I read the full press release that are very relevant to our democracy. The other thing is, I saw a link that NEC is distributing, and I hope the opposition is conscious of the implication of that link, or just the entire process of voter registration, being able to understand, being able to account for it, and how it translates into cheating during the national elections. The third piece I hope we can touch on, I hear the legislature is already talking about threshold. I don't know if you don't have a legislative reporter or not, but I heard there was a discussion starting yesterday about threshold. This census that's not credible is what is going to be used. It's something that we have to look at. If they're talking about threshold now, then they're supposed to release the details of the census now, because it will be easy to see how they screw up the numbers if they provide the details of the census. You easily see the misalignment with a combination of the age brackets, the age bands, and the births. So hopefully we'll be able to get to those things and talk about them some. But
I put this to you before I go into the ambassador's statement. Why do you think, in your opinion, and from you I'll go back to Leo, and it's an opinionated question, why do you think after our census the details remain in the dark?
Because the rough estimate, look, I came within 10,000, my estimates from maybe 3-4 years ago, because I trended a 3% trend. I came to 5,258,000. I think that number, or out of 5,248. That the difference between my numbers from years ago to that number is only 10,000 votes. So they know, even the international community, that's the range that number is in. But within that range now, we need to understand at each age level what the number of people were counted, so we can make a comparison with the 2008 numbers. That's where you will see the obvious stuff. Then it will also tell us over the last few years how many people were born year by year over year. Then we'll be able to see those things. But they have not done it because they want to blindfold the people again and be able to just push numbers down our throat, or registration information down our throat, or population in those wayward counties that have no serious economic development activity going on for us to assume that migration took place.
Thank you.
Multiple births took place.
Thank you. But why do you think, Leo, you are an educated guy? We have a census. Since the census finished, and this has nothing to do with government, opposition, no. But the details of the census remain in the dark. Why?
Because the government was incapacitated and unable to do a complete census. And when I mean incapacitated and unable, it could be from everything from the chaos, from the disorganization, to, first of all, the time frame set for conducting the census was unrealistic. It made no sense for a treacherous country like Liberia. Before you get to conducting the census, the amount of work that has to be done is incredible. Even education, people were not even educated about the census to begin with. And the colossal failure of the census was the day that was set. The entire country was informed that we will have this big rolling out of the census on this day.
Yeah.
That day came, Liberians stayed home. People didn't go to their marketplaces. People waited to be counted. And nobody told people why the census was not starting. They just decided that we changed that day. And since then, we haven't received any coordinated approach from the government as to say we were redoing this. And I think there was a lack of leadership too. As the census was going on, we saw key government officials. In my opinion, every minister in government was supposed to be holding something at their various ministries to emphasize that the importance of the census and get all the people involved. We didn't see that. Now, if the resources was provided by the international community, great. But the resource mobilization on the ground, it was chaos, from paying enumerators to paying workers. Every single day was one group of workers demonstrating. So it's clear that the census was never fully completed or fully implemented in the very first place. So you cannot get a robust result.
Thank you. Al Hussein, again, why is it in the dark? You're muted.
It's in the dark because, like everything else, this government have chosen to politicize this thing. The bizarre thing about this thing is the spark in number. The guys got drafted in simple Liberian term. This other draft will never see it say 1847. I mean, the number spike in those era they just made it obvious, especially in the Southeast. The entire vote in the Southeast. Look, this is all I can say is this is a coordinated attempt for what we should expect in October. This is not just something that just happened out of the blue. Look, George Weah, these guys have preempted a lot of things. It started with removal of Cabinet Janneh, moving this dress. Then it came to the census. And then we see where his base is. He started to plant a couple of structure there, building homes here, there, and that. And next thing we see, the population spike. Because where's the CDC base? The CDC base is no longer in Monrovia. Monrovia has become a battleground state. Which county is the president leaning on? The Southeast. But you know what? That you do not win election by just winning the Southeast. Grand Julius last election was coming out with about 25,000 votes. You put Grand Cruz, Sano, all the places in there, they were not even amounting to 150,000 votes. Just Mangibi County alone were offsetting all those things. So they had to do something to give him a base. And I think that's the reason why we are seeing this happening in the system, because they inflicted the numbers there. And the worst thing about the census is our international partner endorsed it. I watched the unveiling, the ceremony. People endorse it with us saying nothing. In fact, one of the lady called it one of the best she has seen. If you listen to the summit, I listened to it more than twice. And I'm like, but you know what? The international community are not responsible for doing due diligence for us. It is not their responsibility. It is liability. We know our country more than the Ghanaian that is in there. We know our country than, I think there was an Indian lady that is in there. They came to do the job and get paid. I worked with NGO before. I know what it is. They come to fulfill meet their benchmark, and that's it.
All right.
If this Liberian to do due diligence,
Thank
our
you.
legislature need to do it, and the opposition have not done a good job in that topic. I think we need to put fire on them, or else we cannot sit down and cry later. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Let's move on now to the U.S. Ambassador's statement. I must say to all of you before we get into it, let's be very clear. Let's start off with Liberians in the United States. I mean, Leo, you free? No, you're not free. He went on to talk about the diaspora, and so you are in Canada. All right, folks, I'm going to paraphrase exactly what the U.S. ambassador said with regards to people living in the diaspora and particularly the United States.
Usually, can I interrupt you?
Yes.
You just allow the tip to pay. I don't know whether you guys decided. And then, because when you paraphrase it, people will think that you added it.
Okay. So I will agree with you. What I wanted to paraphrase was to give an understanding to the people in Radio Land. Not everybody can hear series. Okay, let me just put it. The American ambassador say like, oh, the team are coming to Toya. The team say are for one party are against another party, or are from one administration or against the other administration. No, corruption based a problem. Then he went on to say, but y'all listen to me. People in the diaspora, they made me shame because most of the time they can send bad information here to make the government institution look bad. Then when police people go ask them, then they plead the First Amendment right. So for that reason, he said he feel ashamed of them. But he didn't call anybody name. He just said people in America and hopefully in the diaspora too. So for that reason, we're going to let Good Day play the tape for us. Then Leo will speak from Canada, which is part of the diaspora. And Isaac Batogba and Al Hussein will speak from the United States. We'll wrap it up. James, are you there? Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. It's about 9 minutes. So everyone, you have to...
That's the right time I took. It will take us up to 5 p.m. and then the discussion will begin.
Yeah. Here we go.
I'll take this opportunity to unconditionally condemn the violence that occurred yesterday at the University of Liberia, Capitol Hill campus. Details are still emerging, but I'm speaking directly at politicians, student groups, and citizens across the country when I say that violence of any kind has no place in a democratic society. Violence does nothing but undercut your own credibility and will only take this country backwards. Disagreements and competing visions for the country should be solved through peaceful debate and at the ballot box, not on the street. So once again, good afternoon. And it's a privilege to introduce you to the State Department's Global Anti-Corruption Coordinator, Richard Nephew, and USAID's Anti-Corruption Task Force Executive Director, Shannon Green. Today's roundtable will focus on their visit to Liberia. However, before I turn this over to our guests, there are 2 items I would like to note for the press. First, in both our U.S.-funded media training and in our messaging to the press, we spend a lot of time emphasizing responsible journalism. That with freedom of expression comes an obligation to verify facts and to not inflame passions without first doing due diligence. Today, I am ashamed. I'm ashamed to tell you that the most irresponsible controversies to emerge in Liberia's media over the past month have originated from the United States. While responsible, critical observations from the Liberia diaspora can be healthy, some cowardly media personalities and political personalities have intentionally disseminated rumors and misinformation into Liberia's political environment from the safety of their studios and offices in the U.S. And these people are motivated by disruption and a desire to break down trust in Liberian institutions. They don't care what damage they cause. And when questioned by law enforcement, they do not have evidence to back up their claims. Unfortunately, they take advantage of America's First Amendment rights to spread rumors and stir up trouble in your country, which is despicable behavior. Now, on a more positive note, my second item is to take this opportunity for a huge shout out to Liberia for recent progress in fighting FGM. I was not here for International Women's Day, but I still wanted to congratulate the WIA administration, the traditional leaders, the religious leaders, the women's support groups, UN Women, and UNDP for going far beyond lip service to take coordinated actions to preserve the Sunday while fighting the scourge of FGM. Jaha Dukure, the UN Women's Goodwill Ambassador for ending FGM and child marriage, and a world-renowned anti-FGM activist, has visited Liberia twice in the past 4 months. Why? Because she believes that the synergy here today is unique. The momentum of so many actors working together to abolish this practice is so powerful. She believes that the practice of FGM in Liberia may actually be eliminated in her lifetime. And this is someone who's been fighting FGM for 20 years and is not easily impressed. The UN, the AU, and women's rights advocates and other development partners are not asking you to abolish coming-of-age rituals. No one is suggesting that you should eliminate traditions for training girls in the ways of women. The campaign is only to eliminate FGM cutting. I implore the legislature to add to this incredible momentum by passing proposed anti-FGM legislation immediately. Is it not fitting that as the oldest republic in Africa, Liberia should abolish this terrible practice that is so harmful to half the population? So now I would like to move to today's primary topic. Embassy Monrovia is privileged to welcome two of our most senior agents, anti-corruption agents, who will talk to you today about their visit to Liberia. As the Liberian public is well aware, the US government is deeply concerned with corruption, globally and especially here in Liberia. Now, unlike Mozambique, Liberia is free of hurricanes or typhoons. Unlike Ethiopia, Liberia does not have invasions of locusts. Unlike Cabo Verde, Liberia has plentiful and dependable rainfall. A country that has been truly blessed with a bounty of resources. There is only a man-made plague that holds back Liberia today, and that plague is corruption. Corruption has been part of Liberian society for over 200 years. But like FGM or the tradition of binding feet in China's ancient history, once corruption is a fully established way of doing business, it's very, very difficult to remove. And before anyone draws a conclusion that I'm favoring one political party over another or one administration above another, let me be perfectly clear. Corruption in Liberia is far too ingrained and pervasive to pretend that it could be that isolated. Now, Singapore, with only 270 square miles of land, virtually no natural resources, and with a population almost the same size as Liberia's, had a reputation in the early 1960s as one of the poorest, most corrupt countries in Asia. Singapore's per capita gross domestic product in 1960 was $428. Today, Singapore is one of the wealthiest nations on the planet, and their per capita gross domestic product in 2022 had risen to $82,794. In comparison, Liberia's per capita gross domestic product in 2022, the same year, was $630. How did this happen? Did they win the lottery? Was it by chance or coincidence? No. One of the primary reasons for the phenomenal success of Singapore is that they decided corruption would no longer be accepted as a normal part of life. Now, like most of you, I have great hopes for Liberia. Like most Liberians, I dream of a better country, one where labor regulations are enforced uniformly, without prejudice, and not for personal manipulation or political gain. One where all legislators appropriate funds to a ministry without the expectation of kickbacks. One where all ministers negotiate on behalf of what is best for the country, not on the basis of what funds are being paid directly to them. One where public appropriations are distributed as the legislature directed them, not in a random or weaponized fashion determined by individuals. One where schools have no ghost employees and are supplied with the actual number of teachers on their payroll. One where donated medicine is actually available free of charge to the poorest of the poor in public health facilities throughout the country. Liberia can be this country, just as in Singapore. It is within the power of the Liberian people to make this happen. You can do it. And with that, let me turn this over to our esteemed guests. Unfortunately, I have to step away, but I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very, very much.
All right. We heard the ambassador. And the first thing, before I go over to you guys, he stressed that he had to speak to two important things. And one had to do with the money they spend on the free press training in the country, and the other was the FGM. But then he became hopeful of the Liberia he wanted to see, a Liberia that was free from this, free from that, free from the other, which we will go into. The first part I want to tackle with you guys, and I will have my opinion at the end of the day after I listen to you all, is the fact that he said he was ashamed of people who sat in their studios and offices in the United States providing misinformation that tend to undermine government's institutions and take away the credibility. I stand to be corrected on my paraphrasing what he said, but I'm thinking I'm accurate. I go to Leo. You listen to the ambassador. He did not call any name specifically, but he was very specific as to the United States and to that of the diaspora. Leo, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts?
Thank you. So
give me your best 2 minutes.
I'm not going to sit and pretend like I'm going to go into the ambassador's mind and narrow down some of the specifics as to what he was meaning by some of the things he said. But here's what I would say. First of all, this is very unprecedented for a U.S. ambassador, at least in my lifetime, to be more blunt like this, taking on the Liberian diaspora specifically in such specific manner is unprecedented. And anyone here can correct me. That's what I'm saying in my lifetime, as far as I am aware. The second thing I would say, there are two things at play. It's great to hear the U.S. being concerned, and our traditional partner supporters being concerned. And I think those concerns are rightfully placed. But what I'm concerned about is them not being concerned about enablers. Let me remind you quickly, we all listen to warlords, rebel leaders, political players in the U.S., in the Liberian diaspora, instigating on countless bloodshedding, violent talk and controversies on us in Liberia when we were children growing up during the war. They were on some of the biggest media platforms, including American media platforms. Could our friends from the U.S. have done more to spare us some of the bloodletting by stopping some of the propaganda and bloodletting controversies that were being spread. People pushing their various rebel groups and warring factions to share more blood. Could our friends have done more? So I'm glad to see this, and I'm hoping that we can continue along this path where the accountability bar is raised a little higher. But I'll go even further. When he mentioned about Singapore being one of the richest nations in the world, great. Could our American friends have done more to have stopped the coup attempts and coup d'etats that happened when we knew where most of them originated from? Could they have helped us do a little more to stop the Civil War when we know what role the United States could have played to stop some of the players that was taking Liberia from where it was to a place that was going to be almost impossible to return from? Could our friends have done more by holding accountable and chastising some of the rebel leaders who live in luxury in the United States while they were punishing innocent Liberian women and children during the Civil War? Now, like I said, I don't know what was in the ambassador's mind when he was speaking, but this is welcoming. And I hope that this type of scrutiny can be taken up to the levels that it should. And the last thing I will say, before I actually close, is that when we talk about corruption, I often hear from the U.S. talking about corruption by who I will call the people implementing it, the beneficiaries in Liberia locally. I've never heard the U.S. go after the enablers. All this big money that gets poured into the country by multinationals, by big corporations. We hear all the bribery scandal, whether it's Western Cluster or any other company that's coming up. I've never seen the scrutiny on these enablers because this money has to be coming from somewhere. If it is donors that are pumping it in or businesses or institutions, does the U.S. don't have the sophistication to go at both sides? The beneficiaries welcoming. Let's chastise our people who are corrupting our resources in our country. But who's buying those corrupt golds and diamonds and everything that's been stolen from the country? Can we beg our friends from the U.S. to extend the scrutiny also to the enablers who are making sure they enable our own brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers to punish us? So for me, it's welcome news from the ambassador, but we will hope that it can go even further in this fight.
Thank you. And I will ask you the same question I will ask to everybody on this panel. Have you been confronted by law enforcement, whether it be the FBI or the CIA, as the ambassador insinuated? Have you been contacted by FBI or the CIA for any reason whatsoever or question? Have you? It's just a matter of yes or no. You can choose not to answer. Are you there, Leo?
Sorry, you cut up there. You said the question again, please.
Have you ever been contacted by FBI, CIA, or questioned on any information you put out there? Have you ever?
I've never.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to Al Hussein UJ Fadiga. Your thoughts?
Well, my thought, this thing came out yesterday, and but I want to make one observation because the tape, there's something about this tape that threw me off just now when I listened to it. There's something mysterious about this tape. The first portion, it seemed like there was a cut. I do not know the real source of this tape. I know there was a press conference, but there's something bizarre about that tape. It seemed like, I don't have proof.
Like the first part
like it was doctor.
Cut in the middle.
You observed that too.
I observed that, yeah.
Something about that tape. I pray that and we'll reach out to the embassy to see who can get the full transcript because
let's go ahead.
I've done this thing before, But
wait, what you read the press release, right?
There was
a press release. You never saw it?
The one with the letterhead?
Yes, this is exactly what he been reading. He read directly from the script.
He actually read from the script verbatim.
Yes. He didn't miss anything. So I don't know what your suspicion is.
No, when you listen to the 9 minutes and you read it, something there was some place that I was cut.
No. I don't think so.
What we will do, let's move on. We'll
look at that later and then we can I just thought I observed that. But let me say something. He says something.
The ambassador is not the best reader, but go ahead.
Yeah. He said a couple of things. He attacked 3 things. The FGM is not something that I'm going to dwell on a lot. But he says something about the diaspora. And I have something that I've said before. Even though he did not call names, I know a lot of people have been, when you look at we in the media, there are a few things we can use inductive reasoning to piece together and see that he may be talking about this. And I will go there. couple of weeks ago, Councillor Verdier made some damning allegation on this network. The network distanced themselves from Councillor Verdier. Here's my problem. By virtue of this man being a seasoned lawyer, knowing full well that whatever he told you were hearsay and inadmissible in court, I thought that was reckless. I don't think it's the network that made that statement. I thought that was reckless. Even though so I don't know who
but let's be clear. We cannot say he referenced anybody, like you rightly said.
No.
That's why I want to give you your thoughts.
I'm using.
But the man sharing his thoughts. Are you forcing?
Yeah.
No, I'm not forcing with him. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
I'm using inductive reasoning. So based on this, that, I can think that this person was referring to this. So let's assume that was it. I thought that was reckless. I distanced myself for it. I think a lot of people on the network distanced themselves for it. But he spoke to a larger, and he spoke a little bit on that. But he spoke on something that is fundamental to our democracy and in the well-being of our country. He said, in the country, there were anti-corruption agents. And he said the U.S. is deeply concerned with corruption. That means corruption under this government that we have been talking about, corruption has reached to an alarming proportion to the point that they have sanctioned two. Look, there is no way that the U.S. government will sanction McGill and leave the president out. McGill served directly at the will and pleasure of the president. But these guys have understood that decapitation strategy can sometimes bring chaos in the country. So what they are doing, I don't know the red term for this strategy that they are using, but rather than going for the head, they're trying to clean around the president. Because there is no way McGill can be corrupt, the president not corrupt. There is no way McGill can be corrupt, and Serena Seafoy and those guys can be corrupt. Bill Troyer can be corrupt. And these people work directly under the president. They serve the president in that sort. But this is a prelude to something bigger. And what the guys did that shared the information, this thing happened yesterday. It was not transcribed. It was in an audio form. They hid the audio and brought out part of the transcript that they wanted us to see. When I did the podcast,
did you say they hid the audio? Why would they hide the audio?
Yeah, but
it was never available.
Who guys?
Hold on,
the U.S. embassy or other people?
I don't know who, but it was not available.
It was not the embassy. We just saw
it was not the embassy.
Small portion that came out from government propagandists. That I will agree with him.
Yeah, the government put out what they wanted us to hear. They left the corruption part and they put us the part that talk about the diaspora. But there was more. That's why I said the devil is in the detail.
You are right. Go ahead.
There was more to the story than just the diaspora or something. So they went on to say that they went on to talk about corruption, but they left the corruption part out and spoke about the diaspora. So when the information came out, they shared a link. The link was from a page that was mirror as the embassy page. So when I started to dig last night, we found this fan page that seemed to be Embassy of Liberia near Monrovia. Same name. But what was different is they had a different banner in the background. And then the link was going to that page. And the page had a sedition, a girl, Olivia girl, with a face cap, a CDC, a red beret. So when I found that thing, we said, no, we reported the fan page. Facebook took the page down, but we did a screenshot of the page. So that's what they did, and they put only what the ambassador said about the diaspora. Later on this morning when I got up, guess what? 3 ministers of the We Are Led administration
30 seconds.
sent me the audio. 3 ministers from information ministry sent me the audio. When I listened to the audio, I said, "Boy, the audio, the ambassador did say this thing, but this guy deliberately and willfully left certain portion out." So I came back and retracted my statement and said, you know what? The ambassador did say this thing, but there's more to the story. Guess what?
All right.
To push your tea and share it all around.
You could have just emailed the embassy. Al-Hussein, I emailed the embassy public press email. You could have just emailed them for the original copy.
Al-Hussein,
but at that time it was late when we got the information.
No, I mean right away you could have
emailed.
Thank
you. We're at 5:09, guys. Don't forget, we're on time. I'd like to welcome Samuel Wozie, former Assistant Minister for Information Services, and Colonel E. Remy Gray. I'd like to welcome you. You guys are latecomers, so you know what we can do to latecomers. You will be last. We'll go over to Isaac Vatuba.
I will send it to you guys that want it.
Yeah, I will go over to Isaac Vatuba for his thoughts. You are muted, Isaac.
I'm very concerned that the ambassador will say law enforcement, U.S. law enforcement, spoke with these
I'm
people.
sorry, Isaac. Let me ask Al Hussein. Have you ever been contacted by law enforcement on comments that you have made? Have you ever been investigated?
Never. I mean, we're in the media for long. This is not the first time we've been talking about things. No, never.
Okay,
Never
thank you. Alpha, you can go ahead.
Yes, I've never been contacted either, but I'm not all yet or lot. So, but the point is, the ambassador said U.S. law enforcement engaged these people. And he talked about two groups, media personalities and political personalities. Most of those in the diaspora who fit that category, they are known. They're not hidden. Yes, I agree with him about Verdier's statement. Verdier should have backed his statement up. He has not backed it up. I mean, it is reckless. He should not be accusing people. This is now a defense thing, and he's not a propagandist. It's one thing for propaganda to do, but he's a respected lawyer. He's a counselor. He was the one who led the TRC effort. So there's a certain level of integrity that comes with him and whatever he puts out there. So he has that obligation to the Liberian people to either come and say I lied or to provide proof. He doesn't have to wait for no court of law before he presents the evidence of what he accused Koji and Valley of. That does not exonerate them. People should not get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when somebody comes with those kind of statements, they need to back it up rather than just spew, that stuff and then kind of disappear and be like, okay, when they come to court, then I will go there. No, that's not their approach. But the ambassador said the law enforcement agency of the U.S. clearly spoke to those individuals that look at the word he used. He said these people are motivated by disruption and a desire to break down trust in Liberian institutions. They don't care what damage they cause. This is like kamikaze he's talking about. And when questioned by law enforcement, they do not have evidence to back up their claims. There's libel, there's slander, there's just so many things, whether that false alarm or that trying to destabilize, that the U.S. government is the best to bring charges. For one time, you're just driving the wrong lane. We'll probably get you 50 tickets if they want to.
Isaac, can I say one thing? I think you're missing this thing because the law enforcement you guys are talking about is not U.S. law enforcement. I got a reputable source in Liberia that stated that the Liberian National Police, there is an audio by the CDC-led government of Verdier being asked by the Liberian National Police about his allegation, and he said, someone told me you do, and the audio is, don't be surprised when you see it out there. I think he meant the Liberian law enforcement.
Let's not go to what the ambassador did not say. He said law enforcement. Let's keep it that way. Let's not assume.
Wait a minute, guys.
I got that. Yeah.
We're going back to Isaac, but let me just clean up something for you.
Yeah.
He said, when questioned by law enforcement,
he did not say
do? They invoke their First Amendment. That First Amendment can only be applicable to the United States.
We don't have First Amendment.
If you say when they question law enforcement, they invoke Article 15, A, B, C, and D of the Liberian Constitution, then you are talking about our Liberian law enforcement. But he was speaking with the diaspora, so it had to be American law enforcement. Go ahead, Isaac Vatuba. You are muted.
You're muted.
Thank you. So my point is to eliminate all this doubt. Are you talking about U.S. law enforcement, Liberian law enforcement? Who the specific personalities you're talking about? What are these damages that you are talking about? Let him come and clarify. He's not an exception to the situation that happened in Liberia. So I really think the responsibility should be on this ambassador to come out and clarify. Okay. With regards to Singapore, okay.
1 minute.
It's not only corruption. Singapore, their strategy, they call it MPH. They call it meritocracy. That's for the M. The P was pragmatism, and the H was honesty. They felt that utilizing those things. Look at the government today. How many people have been appointed by merit? And it's still happening every day. It's whimsical. they're not even vetting people to have some level of qualification or even expertise in the area that they're appointing them. Pragmatism. Everything that flow show for the government, a 419 move, is not really practical, it's not evident to people, and they don't show it, no transparency, no accountability. Then the itch for honesty, we all know. That's where the whole corruption piece comes in probably. A lot of people are not honest. The government is not honest. But look at the example of the propaganda people just sharing a portion of that. And I don't think it's only limited to them. It multiplies around. So we need to work on those things for us to say we want a better Liberia.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll go over to Samuel Wozi while we're waiting Colonel E. Remy Gray. Wozi, I'm sure you followed the show. If you didn't, then I'll have to just wrap you up. But I'm sure you did follow the show. You followed the U.S. ambassador's statement. He came from 2 prongs, and I would like for you to comment. What are your thoughts?
Well, look, since the statement from the U.S. embassy was released yesterday, there have been mixed reactions from different sides. Our side is celebrating. When I say our side, the party, the government, and people think that the U.S. embassy has exonerated the Liberian government of all of what some Liberians have been concerned about, like corruption, like the issue of national security, and economic revitalization and development and so forth. But the thing is, the U.S. government, we all know how the U.S. government operates. I think the ambassador plays smart with that press statement. He tried not to be seen as somebody who is supporting, quote unquote, wrong propaganda against the Liberian government. So he spoke diplomatically. But I don't think that is something to celebrate. Because the last time I checked, the same U.S. ambassador visited government officials. The next day, he announced the sanction. So I think in this case, he said a lot. He talked about quote unquote some Liberians in the diaspora using the United States as a breeding ground. I mean, the inference of his statement meant that people are here and using this country to wish evil for Liberia, and that is not the case. While it is true that I do not agree in totality with some of the opinions from some quarters, but in the United States or in the diaspora generally, you have pro-government pundits who also spew all kinds of things about opposition figures. You also have members of the opposition, of the ruling part of the opposition, who are here, who also use this place to talk things about the government. And so it adds to the beauty of our democracy. And that's why America, as big as America is, America thought to introduce the First Amendment. So I think the ambassador tried to play blind eye to the need for Liberians to benefit from their version of the First Amendment. Because there are a lot of things happening back home. And I, as a seditious, I do not support a one-party state. Neither am I in support of a system where people will do things at will, and then when something occurs in the country, security folks will keep the details from the public. In any society, if something occurs, if something happens, and then the security system starts to delay, people will begin to make insinuations. They will have their own version, and that will turn up to rumors about people, and people will start to make reckless remarks, and you cannot stop them from making some of those remarks. On the issue of Councillor Verde, where I am not Councillor Verde, neither am I one of those who support his argument, but he is a Liberian, and I think it will be unfair for us to begin to judge him here. Why it is true that I do not support or agree to a lot of the things that he said, but I think the burden of proof lies on the accuser. So it's good that the ambassador mentioned that some of these people, when engaged by security actors, they don't provide evidence. I think that's what he meant. So the United States is in the best position to help curb the wave of quote-unquote misinformation that he talked about. But the ambassador will have to also consider that we have two groups here. You have pro-government too, saying their set of stuff about other people. like us.
1 minute.
You also have opposition members saying their own things. So we as a country, those in power, we just have to be strategic. We have to make sure we make the rightful decisions. For instance, my good friend, Representative Akaras Gray, he had no reason going to UL campus, but he said he's an incumbent lawmaker. Now he went there and everything has gone hellway. What would the ambassador say about that? He condemned it, which is also welcoming. So now a last right on our lap, it's in our hands. So we in charge of the country supposed to be the one to decide who's doing the right thing or the bad things. So I will submit here as we go along with the conversation, so we don't have enough time. I like Bibera as Avatuba Shaolin beer. He got it.
My man, pull that. Well, let's go over to Colonel E. Remy Gray. Colonel Gray, you follow the topic. Your thoughts on Ambassador McCarthy's statement?
Well, gentlemen, I'm sorry that I came late, but I think the ambassador left us with more doubts than clarity on his statement, and sometimes he also exacerbated the situation, because now he leaves us to more doubts, to start pointing fingers to other individuals that probably he was not even referring to. Let's not forget that one of the cardinal responsibilities, or one of the cardinal benefits that some of the media organization or media individuals in the diaspora also bring to Liberian is accurate information, or the ability to keep them in the loop whenever things happen, because we have a government that is tight-lipped on information, as Mr. Woolsey said. So if you, as a power broker or peace broker, being in the ambassador, it's your responsibility to be clear when you make statement. I think this will exacerbate the government's move to start clamping down on important organizations that they believe are not in their corner because of the ambassador's statement. They're not going to look at the corruption issue that was also highlighted. They're going to look at people who are key to opposing them, meaning the government of the Republic of Liberia. So that's why it's important, as a power broker, meaning McCarthy, he should have spoken with clarity. I am confused as to who spoke with which law enforcement garment, whether it's the U.S. I'm asking to say if he's referring to diaspora media agents or organizations, it meant the U.S. justice system or the U.S. law enforcement system. I mean, what is there to hide? Unless there's something bigger than just speaking with individuals that believe have disseminated information that is harming the well-being of Liberia. And we can bring people here. Normally we'll say, what you say, the network cannot be held accountable. And most people are thinking about Spoon, maybe, but because he did not speak with clarity, there could be other individuals. It could be so many folks have their own, pet shop and talk shop.
1 minute
in the U.S. especially. So it's left for us to know with whom the U.S. law enforcement organizations, spoke. I want to believe that it's not the Spoon network. Otherwise, it's not even probably what Verdier said here. So, but because of what happened, he could not clarify himself. So therefore, we're pointing finger now. Of course, Mr. Verdier or Councillor Verdier is also well grounded here. So he probably could have spoken with law enforcement agencies in the U.S. So I'll just leave it there. But I'll urge the ambassador to speak with clarity. It is his kind of responsibility as an agent of the United States to always speak with clarity.
Thank you. And right after this segment, I'm going to give you my thoughts. And right after this segment, we'll move to the part where he indicted. Again, he made it clear. I don't want for people to say I'm favoring this party over this party or this administration over this administration. But clearly, when he spoke of corruption, those things that he mentioned clearly pointed fingers towards the current administration, in my view. We will go to that, and you guys will have your thoughts on it. But let me speak to the issue. First and foremost, it's important. I have never, ever been contacted by U.S. law enforcement, whether CIA, KGB, TBI. Never. Never been invited, never had my doors knocked on. Now, having said that, I think all of you have said the same thing. The ambassador did not point direct fingers. He did not speak with clarity. But I am more concerned when he says that these people intend to undermine the credibility of institutions. And I want to say to the American ambassador, since you did not point fingers at anyone or come up to say any one particular group or a radio station, I'm not going to go there and try to judge you or think for you. But when you make reference to the First Amendment, I'd like for you to note Article 15, A, B, C, and D. There is nothing, I repeat, nothing in the First Amendment here in the US that is not in Article 15, A, B, C, and D. The same law they're taking advantage of here, they can take the same advantage of the law over there. It's the same. The difference is you respect the law here. Over there, they will fall down from a banister. They will be driving their car, it will flip. They will fall after drinking with friends. They will end up in the yard. Even though they got money, two of them, according to the president, will be making love in the car, and they will die. Those things don't happen here. But it's the same law. And I'm challenging the ambassador to give me the difference between, or the differences between Article 15, A, B, C, and D of the Liberian Constitution and the First Amendment here. We'll start that debate. The second point I want to raise is this. The ambassador said last year, March 14, what will J.J. Roberts say? And on the anniversary of what he said, he has said something today. But since that day, I want the ambassador to realize that when in the absence of adequate information, I'm sure, guys, you will agree with me, people speculate, people spread rumors. Liberians paid over $500 million in remittances to Liberia every year. They have investment in that country. They have mother, father, sisters, daughters, everything. They have the right to be concerned. They have the right to speak out. And they have the right to be heard. But more so, the government under the laws must inform them it's a right. So I said to the American ambassador, look at the situation with Westin Cluster. What has he said about it? Look at the situation with ArcelorMittal. This is the first time the people of Nimba, Bong, and Basso are receiving $1.5 billion. Look at the situation with APM Terminal. What do we know? So we're not supposed to talk? Look at the situation, $100 million worth of drugs. From the time they burn it, we've heard nothing, Mr. Ambassador. What do you expect the people to do? Just 6 weeks after that, or thereabout, we heard about $40 million worth of drugs. Mr. Ambassador, what have you heard? Have our government told us anything? Mr. Ambassador, there was a catch of arms and ammunition spotted before our eyes by our government. What do we know? What have we heard? Nothing. The deaths of the auditors. Unfinished business. So again, while you are talking about these people in the diaspora, I will appreciate for you to tell the government it is the right of your citizens to know under Article 15 that they have the right to be informed. And if you fail to inform them, they will inform themselves. And in that note, the ambassador asks, how did it happen? When we get to the corruption side of it, we'll be able to state our various thoughts. But on the issue of Verdier, I don't think he pointed direct fingers at Verdier, and I don't think he even intended to point fingers at Verdier. Why do I say so? The government asked for lead. Verdier said, this is the man that did it. This is how he did it. This was the night he did it. I'm in no way supporting Verdier, or no way is this network supporting Verdier. But what Verdier said, and what we know now, is the fact that nobody talked to the people he pointed to until after 10 days. How are we to prove that Verdier was wrong? When the alleged suspect across the road from the police station was never contacted, and our government never refuted or disputed what he said, and up to now.
No, but he never said Verdier was wrong, though.
No, I'm just saying something. We all, everybody, you touched on Verdier's name. So I'm saying he didn't even mention Verdier's name. But I'm still going to the point and closing on this note. In the absence of adequate information dissemination from our government, the people will speculate. And when our government fails to inform the people will inform themselves.
Can I ask you a question, Eugene?
Yes, and then we'll move to the corruption part.
When you were the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs, is that the title? Do you feel this government was transparent at that point? Do you feel this government provided information to the people of Liberia?
It's not what I feel. I think I would rather answer to what I did. Because if I tell you what I feel, you will not like it.
No, but you're telling us what you feel right now. So I'm asking you,
I'm giving you my thoughts.
Maybe in your office, I'm sure you probably provided any information I was giving you and you were shared. But you were also knowledgeable about other information. So that's why the question I'm asking, because you usually tell the truth. Do you
feel this government gave out information? Wasn't that your question?
Was this government transparent, like how you requested this information today, right? No. Do you feel this government was clearly transparent during the time you were in that position? That's the question.
Are you ready for your answer?
Yes.
Okay. Then please listen. Do you feel this government was transparent? It is not about my feeling. I'm not on trial for that. But if you ask me, can you say that the government was transparent during your time that you were deputy minister? Can you say the government was transparent?
Okay, I replace my question with your correction. Go ahead.
Thank you. It's not what I feel. So now, I can tell you this much. The government comprises of 3 branches of government, and the government is huge. So as a result, government is not limited to maybe the office of the president or the finance minister. Government is holistic. And I don't think when a policeman go take the people $200 or $2,000, they will come for us to tell our one. So no, we were not holistic in telling everything. But those things that were very important for people to know, I can assure you, I was not leaked on it. Whenever it happened, I was either at the scene or I was there to give the people exactly what happened or what I was informed happened. So can we move on to the corruption part?
We can move, but that's not a satisfactory answer, but we can move.
We move. Okay, now let's go to the part. Where is Good Day? Because I'm sure Leo is itching on this part. Leo,
once it comes to corruption in the government, Good Day can disappear.
I think Good Day not put it up, or Good Day not make us shame.
Oh, Good Day made me shame. Bawe,
Good Day put it up. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go around quickly. We'll go step by step. And I really want you to enjoy yourselves with a 1 minute, 30 seconds at most. We'll go step by step because he outlined some things. So I will start on this note with Leo first. He said Like most Liberians, I dream of a better country, one where labor regulations are enforced uniformly without prejudice and not for personal manipulation or political gain. Leo, you heard what he said, meaning that's something he noticed. James, can you put it down for Leo to speak? Meaning he noticed that this labor regulations was not enforced uniformly, and that it had prejudice, and it was for personal manipulation. You know, your lawyer can say the man got a love to the guy before he get a job, or the minister got a love to this person. And he also said, or it was for political gain, meaning I put you there because you're sedition. Now, what are your thoughts? We start with the first one.
I say, welcome to the show, Mr. Ambassador, of what Liberians have been suffering under successive governments for a very long time. And again, my only thing here is we have gotten to the place as to where we've normalized these things, that it is acceptable. And this is where I often ask, where is the role of state actors? Because it's one thing when we talk about these things on talk shows. It's another thing when people are documenting these things, filing in reports. And I know sometimes we think these reports have no impact. Trust me, when international partners are discussing what decisions to take, it is these reports that they actually go to. So even our non-state actors, and that's where I often argue that we need to strengthen the other sectors of our country. But let me say this, Fagon, something that we gloss over. In the opening of the ambassador's statement, he said unconditional condemnation of violence from politicians, student groups, and citizens. I was berated on the same show a few days ago when I said the exact same statement, and people came at me. So I hope everybody agrees with the U.S. ambassador's statement on it. But back to the corruption issue. Corruption is not for us to call it out selectively. We've seen it. There is no uniform structure or system as to how people get hired. The question I asked the last time, where are the terms of references for these jobs? Where are the actual requirements? We see the vetting processes. When people are nominated and appointed and they go to the Liberian Senate, sometimes one even wonders, how did they even get there? And then our Senate comes out sometimes and vote these people and have it passed. And there is no uniform standard that anybody knows by which the Senate is confirming or not confirming appointees. Because I would expect that people in the Senate don't know everything. If you send a minister of lands, mines, and energy to the Senate, then not everybody in the Senate know about lands, mines, and energy. I would expect that at the very least, there is a uniform standard that says for a minister to be confirmed or an appointee to be confirmed as minister for defense or lands, mines, or whatever, here are the standards that they must meet in terms of qualifications, in terms of experience, length of experience. But what we see in the Senate is that everybody asking their own random question based on what their interest is and what they want to
30
get.
seconds. We're running
So,
to it.
I would say what the ambassador is saying, I think welcome to the show. What Liberian people have been suffering for so long, where competent Liberians cannot even get a chance because they don't have the influence to lobby and get in the circles that allow you to get appointed to government positions. Welcome, Ambassador McCarthy.
Thank you. Al Hussein, you heard him welcome the ambassador to either they gave you a job because of political reason or some form of manipulation. You can be the side chick or something of that nature, and there's no labor regulations enforced uniformly across the spectrum of government. What says thou?
Well, that is just a fact. And it speaks to one of the reasons why nothing gets done in Liberia. Yesterday, I don't know who was saying it, that blaming the legislature, but the ambassador also says something about normalizing corruption. This has been the norm. For a long time, we don't even know how to do it any other way. This is the only way we know how to do it, the Liberian way. And the reason why it is done that way is because our rule of law and our laws are disrespected. We have all the laws in the book. There's no shortage of laws and policies and everything in Liberia. We do have enough. The only thing here we have difficulty or is applying the law. It is done selectively. So the ambassador is right. He's preaching to the choir, like Leo said. Welcome to our world. This is what we have endured. But more importantly, the way our democracy is structured, we give too much power to one group of people. If only we can get that one group of people, like the executive, to steer the affair of the country and ensure that those institutions are working, Honestly, that's why we need to have the best president there that will be able to
30
make
seconds.
that those things happen. Because until we do that, we'll still keep fighting the team. Because one thing I know is the president will have the most power. The president can make sure that all these people are in line and these things get done. But until that, we keep going in circles. I don't think the ambassador say anything.
We got about 3 or 4 more of them to go through. So let's move over to Ava Tokpa. Your thoughts? You are muted. You are muted. Ava Tokpa, you're muted.
Huh?
Okay, now you're on.
Okay. We need to start to break down corruption. I did like a presentation a while ago, and I can share with you at some point. You know, we got to separate the fraud, the abuse, the extortion, the bribery, all of those components. When we just say corruption, our people are so used to that word now, and it's so part of the culture that there's no sensitivity you can arouse from people generally. Oh, the man corrupt. Oh, what? Yeah, the man corrupt. But you say the man steal their money here. The money was going to be for your health care. The man stole the money. So to some extent, I appreciate the ambassador, bringing corruption to the forefront and the United States government really being concerned about it. I too believe that corruption is a significant factor that affects our development in every which way it takes. Because when you look at the corruption, it's not only the person at the top, it's the minister, the deputy, the assistant, even down to the clerk. Because look, for some people to even get an appointment, right? They got to pay for it. Then after they pay, when they get to that first step, when they're discussing, but the minister got to approve it. Then the other person got to sign it. Then the other person got to attest it. They're going through different levels of corruption and extortion all along that chain. And so it's so ingrained in the society. If the U.S. is really serious about it, then they will not just spew sanctions out and then stop there. No, they will actively pursue those people in a way, especially if any U.S. person or any U.S. company was involved in those interactions or those corrupt situations. So until they become very serious about it, we will not be serious about it as a people. Something has to happen because it's really, really affecting how our country moves forward. Then when you talk about the significance of this decision making, I sent a link to what's his name, Good Day. He just played the first few moments and listen to Jeremiah Kuhn, how he's saying 105 persons are basically responsible for everything in our country, and he's not lying. For any serious presidential appointment, they got to approve it. Any concession, they got to approve it. The budget, they got to approve it. Their own salary, where they can just increase every year, they got to approve it. So the 105 people really control the destiny of the Liberian people. That's why when people say they're not in politics, they won't register to vote, they won't do this, it's like that's part of your citizenship. That's your right. That's why, regardless of who they vote for,
thank you,
people should be involved in this process.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll go over to Samuel Wozie, then I come to Colonel Remy Gray. Then when I go back around, I will start with Remy Gray again on the next topic. Samuel Wozie. Samuel Wozie, you muted? Are you there, Samuel Wozie? Okay, we'll go to Colonel Remy Gray. Unmute, please.
All right, it seems as though our brother Wozie is frozen. Gentlemen, there are certain things that we need to be aware of. We run a winner-takes-all government. Under our own democratic tenets, President Weir don't really need to hire anybody but a sedition. Any successor don't have to hire anybody but their own people, because we have not made that as a system to perfect those kinds of things, where you go for the best minds because we're trying to improve the system. You go for people who will be able to whistleblow the system and not join corruption. We have a system that, it's like a gang fight. Whoever wins prevails. I think we as a people need to begin to think how we run an inclusive government. Only one person I've heard talking about inclusive government. Even those who have been in the system forever, I don't hear anybody talking about running an inclusive government. When you run an inclusive government, you will have people doing things based on their own knowledge and on their own professionalism. But when you run a partisan government, definitely people come and protect the system.
30 seconds.
So yesterday, I heard a panelist saying that Liberia don't have customary law. We don't teach it at the university, blah, blah, blah. And I caution that particular participant that if you had gone to law school in Liberia, you understand there is something called administrative law.
That's not what I said.
It's customary law.
I didn't say
you
that.
Understand?
Let's hold on.
And today, I hear on the same network again, somebody saying civics is not taught at our Liberian schools, where J.J. Robert and others are, brought up as a matter of civic, lessons. Then
no, we took civics. That is correct. We took civics.
But nobody said that.
No, listen to me. Fast forward. The legislature has a playbook, a rule on a rubric on anything and everything they do. It does not mean because we're not part of the system, we can make declarative statement that they don't exist. Those things exist. Whether we follow them, given the fact that we run an all-partisan administration, is one thing. But to come here and say they don't exist because you're not part of the system, I think it's unfair. The U.S. government.
You speaking about the legislature, I'll give you 15 seconds to wrap up.
Yeah, Fagon, I will have to please. I will need 30 seconds to respond.
No,
Fagon,
wait, hold on.
Whatever we say here is based on opinion. You have not done research on certain things to make you an authority over what you say. So it's simply your opinion, but they can be debunked.
Uh-oh. What happened there? Okay. It'll be unfair if he's not here. Okay, there he is.
Well, I want to say somebody put me in the back, but the only thing I would say is this. We have a responsibility as media entity to begin to pry into some of these processes. And that's exactly what we do here on Spoon and other media entities that will believe checkmating government, which is the only way we can help to end this corruption.
Thank you, Conor Gray. On that note, we go over to Samuel Wozie, and from there we come to the...
Fagon, I will not allow that. I'm not responding to Remy Gray, but I have to correct some things on my character. I will not allow.
On now. But
no. I will not skip it, Fagon.
How can you say no? I'm saying who we will go to next. I'm not saying
no.
Speak. You still saying no. Calm down.
I'm saying, can I respond?
Announcing. Okay. I'm just like, calm down. Take a deep breath. Get a glass of water. I'm announcing that we'll go to Wozie, and after Wozie is done, we'll go to the legislative part that he made mention of. Then I was about to say, I will give you 30 seconds to respond. Why you so... Thank you. You're too hot. Calm down.
Thank you. I'm on fire, so you gotta cool me down.
Wozie for some reason is out. So again, when he comes back, we'll go back to him. We'll allow you to respond 30 seconds, not more than 1 minute.
I will not respond directly to Colonel Remy Gray, but I will correct some facts. This exceptionalism of those who went to school in Liberia in normal days, pretending like Liberia's education system is still the way it was pre-war, is unacceptable to some of us of the younger generation who have suffered so much. I would say emphatically, the civics that you may have been taught in school in normal day about Liberia is no longer taught in Liberian school. I went to school in Liberia after the war. Remy Gray did not go to school in Liberia after the war. So you can tell me more about the Liberia education system after the war that I went to, I sat in classrooms in. So let me correct that fact. Nobody taught me, I will tell you, in my school, and people, when I went to school, nobody taught us about the depth and breadth of the Liberian presidents, their achievements, their politics, their policies, and what they did in the country. It's not appreciated. in our education system. Number two, when it comes to the University of Liberia, I did not say we don't have customary law. I said customary law has been intentionally undermined in our legal system for a very, very long time. So as a result of that, it's not being taught at the University of Liberia to our newly educated lawyers that are coming out of the education system.
I will hold that thought before we get off the topic here. We will now move forward to what the ambassador said. And I'd like for you guys to listen as I quote him. He said, one word, don't forget now, he's saying, like most Liberians, I dream of a better country. So he said, and I quote, one where all legislators appropriate funds to a ministry without the expectation of kickbacks. One where all ministers negotiate on behalf of what is best for the country, not on the basis of what funds are being paid directly to them. One where public appropriations are distributed as the legislature directed them, not in a random or weaponized fashion determined by individuals, unquote. I'll start with you, Colonel Iremigwe, this time. What do you make of the statement there? Shoot.
I think it's true. This legislature is one place us Liberians should begin to put greater emphasis if we want to perfect our democratic system or even our value. We send in a bunch of people who are self-seeking people. They're there to self-enrich. They are desperate even more than the executive, more than even the president. All the folks we're sending over there to represent us are there primarily for one reason. Maybe few exceptions, very few exceptions. But at the end of the day, they all see eye to eye on self-enrichment, self-aggrandizement. And until we begin to elect quality people who have with more interest for country than self, our democracy will continue to fan quote unquote corruption. What you asked, my brother, I think Liberians should address that October 10th. If they don't, we'll send the same group of people there or replace them with people who are even poorer and will be more desperate by design than their predecessor or whoever they replace. Most of them up for re-election. So there'll be lots of compromises on what goes in their pocket because one, some people don't even know whether they're coming back. And secondly, those people who think they're coming back, you understand, who want to protect their status. My brother, as a result, Liberians should not only focus on the executive, but also the legislature. This is where I agree with Leo sometimes when he casts aspersion against the legislature. But our democracy is this way for now because of that branch of government, the first branch of government. Some people are even questioning, do we need them anyway? You know, the people have not even seen the essence of a legislature.
Thank
you. Go ahead,
Mr. Thank you. Thank you. Let's move over to Ava Tukpa. Ava, you heard him. He nailed the legislature. He nailed them in a way that he gave them a bundled package for everything that they do that's wrong. Your thoughts? You are muted.
Factual. A lot of the problems in the country stem from the legislature not utilizing their oversight role. They really have the ability to stop a lot of this stuff. Unfortunately, the bunch of them are corrupt. They take brown envelopes, so they got no moral fiber in them to stop anything that's going on. Nearly 10 years ago, I wrote an article. I said it was the budget. I said it was daylight robbery between the executive and the legislature. And that same relationship has continued throughout. If you look at any budget, the legislature will be grammar small, until they increase their share or they get a little extra money somewhere, then the budget passes. Most of the budget we have has just been like moving this column to this column. You know, it's not about going to a ground, you know, from a zero level budget and build it up. Really looking at what was spent the last time, what programs are here, what are we doing next? We don't do that in our budget analysis, unfortunately. It's just like sorry projection from year to year, just moving the needle forward without doing anything that really impact the people. You know, on corruption, it's our society. It's into the fiber of society now, and it would take a real strong leader at the top that would take that stand. I don't want to benefit from this corruption. Let's move this country forward and hold people accountable. And Liberian people, I really believe we're quick to learn. You fire the first 5 to 7 persons directly for corruption, prosecute them, take whatever they use that corrupt money for from them, let the people see it as an example. I think people will fall in line and we'll start to change the way we think. But right now, people expect people to steal and people try to fulfill that expectation because the people who come into you as a lawmaker, they expect you to have money. If you tell you don't have money, then a problem. But you as a lawmaker should be providing the opportunities for those people not to come and beg you. Help the government create jobs. The executive, the same responsibilities. So we're missing all of that.
Thank you. Al-Hussein, UJ Fadiga. And then we'll move on to Leo. And if you guys are in the back, when Leo is speaking, please come forward. The Liberian people will have to have their say on this station so that we can open the lines after UJ Fadiga and Leo Johnson. Then, of course, the Liberian people will have their time to speak directly to the U.S. ambassador. Over to you, Al.
Yeah, so the ambassador made a lot of statements. He says something. He mentioned, I think, the East Africa. I think it was the East Africa or Ethiopia. He said it is plagued with a plague or something, and with some locusts, and some other country have something. Some other country are attacked by plague and something, and other country have drought and things. But then he said Liberia is different from those countries. We have natural vegetation, rainforest, everything, iron ore, diamond, gold, everything. But he says specifically that the problem in Liberia is a man-made plague. He said Liberia is consumed by a man-made plague. And what this plague is corruption. That is, corruption in Liberia is by design. We have normalized it to the point that it's a way of life. And I don't want to sound redundant, but you guys have said it all. The problem is the legislature. How did we arrive at this point? We have chosen to pay people to do nothing, to sell the country. One, we get paid more than almost every legislature in a sub-region. I don't know, but a friend of mine was telling me that while Liberia was still making around 15,000, 16,000, in Ghana they were getting about 1,800. So it makes something very attractive, something that is so detrimental to our country, very attractive. One of the serious mistakes. So how will we fix this? Because it has to start from somewhere. We can keep saying, we all saying the same thing. It is no secret. It's an open secret that the legislature is part and parcel of the problem. But how can we face it? Where does this end? And we all know that the only person that we can challenge with this tax right now that can actually make some effort is the person that wields the most power. And that is within the executive. If we have a strong executive, I'm telling you, everybody will fall in line. And I'll leave with this one last point. Look, we keep saying that this thing can happen and people say the Liberian way. Look, in Liberia,
30 seconds.
You will take
an 6-hour mark.
You will take an unproductive young man that said and watch Arsenal, all those things, people were around doing vain things. You bring that same people in a developed country, and they become productive citizens, going to work 8 hours, doing everything, working, they're doing the break, become law-abiding. There's a reason why things changes when people come over here, because people are held accountable. The culture of impunity that have been normalized in Liberia is the same problem, because nothing gets done. So people do things with impunity.
Thank you. Leo, you'll take us home on this. I'll give my final thoughts. We'll be going to the phone lines and let the Liberian people have their say.
Thank you. Here are a few things I'll kind of close up on. I think we may have easily gloss over some of the points I would like to emphasize from the statement from the U.S. ambassador. He talked about U.S.-funded media training and responsible journalism. I think we all should embrace that. We want responsible journalists. We want people to do their work. That means not every Tom, Dick, and Harry should just jump and call themselves journalists. Take advantage of the training that's available and be responsible. Verify your facts. I'm one person who's against this issue of us, especially when you are in the public, on the media platform where a lot of people listen. Let's do the homework. Responsible journalists will hold on to information sometimes for months if they are not able to verify that the information is authentic for fear of misleading the public. Irresponsible controversies, I agree. People in the diaspora should not be stoking tension. People in the diaspora should not be stoking violence regardless of what it is. I agree, we welcome all of that. The issue of cowardly media and political personalities disseminating rumors, I agree. If we don't have evidence for stuff, if people in the diaspora don't have evidence for stuff, don't endanger people in Liberia by putting things out there. So I think at the end of the day, this is not targeted at any one individual. I don't even think it's any one station news outlet. It's targeted overall to the Liberian diaspora because not everybody who make reckless statements are on news media. There are individuals all the time who get on their Facebook pages or YouTube or whatever and spew all kinds of stuff with zero iota of evidence. If you are going to step up to the public and make accusations, call names and dangerous accusations, then you are equally liable and should be held responsible for backing those up with validated or proper information, and not just because I know because somebody told me so or because I actually heard it. Thank you.
Well, good day, and the other guys to the phone line. Before I go on my closing thoughts on this, are you getting the phone lines ready for the Liberian people to make their contribution? Please just hold on the line. Let me finish my thought. Here's just a few things. I first of all want to thank the American ambassador for coming up strongly. And I asked him the question, where have you been? Last year, you asked us what will J.J. Roberts say. And then the honorable ambassador just went into coma on us. We had the Western Cluster stuff, nothing happened. We had the Asila meter stuff, we didn't hear from him. We had the APM situation, we have not heard from him. $100 million worth of drugs, we haven't heard from him. $40 million worth of drugs, we haven't heard from him. Auditors, devs, all of these things, we haven't heard from him. But he asked a very important question. And yes, some people are not supposed to be stoking fear and questioning the credibility of government institutions. But I put it back to him. Do you blame the people for speculating? If the government refused to give them information? I don't think so. The government owes them the information by law. And if the government does not give it to them, they will speculate. But with regards to the question, how did this happen? The ambassador will continue to give us facts, truths, and his opinions. We also have the same right to give him facts, truths, and our opinion. My opinion that I am about to express to him is my opinion. I take full responsibility for it and not this network. I believe that the United States government has been the enabler of the corruption that we have seen since 1816. You continue to give people monies that you claim are corrupt. You say they are corrupt, but you still give them money. They steal the drugs that you mentioned, but you still give them money. You give them the money to buy, to take care of health facilities. They steal it. You still give them money. If you look at our country today, we were the world's largest producer of iron ore, LAMCO, Bombais, NIOC. Where is our country today? We have diamonds, gold, oil. Where is our country today? We have got everything. And you have been our traditional partners and our dad. How is it that we are so poor today? And you, our founding father, remains the greatest country on the surface of the earth. How is it that you gave us all these millions of dollars and they disappear and you cannot hold anyone? Every day you say to us, the government is corrupt. 2 days later, you approve 200 million for them. Every day you tell us they're corrupt, but every day you tell us you give them money. So again, you have enabled corruption in our country, in my opinion. And the day you decide that corruption must end, it will end. It will not end by 3 officials being sanctioned, when you know almost all, including legislators, are corrupt. It will not end unless you decide that the companies, as Leo said, who will take our gold and diamond and bring it to your soil to sell, you will tell them, no, it's not fair. It will only end when you decide that you will step down and make sure it ends. We need your partnership. We cannot fight alone, because the people that treat us this way often find themselves in the great United States living lavishly. The sooner you get a hold of them and return the monies they bring to spend, the sooner we'll begin to fight corruption honestly, truthfully, and with the vigor that you want us to fight corruption with. With that said, bam, what says your phone lines?
Well, let's go to the telephone lines, our local lines. 0777 771075 0555 101075. This person. Good evening.
Good evening.
What is your name? Welcome to the program Spoon Talk.
Yeah, my name is Blama Kone. I'm calling from Bravia.
Okay, Blama.
Yeah, just what one of the panelists talk about, our parent is, serious. And me agree that 100%, because from the day we fought the Civil War, in Liberia, we have gone beyond, we have gone, in front to make a better life, to improve Liberia. But then today, Liberians don't know their right. Because if you exercise your right, you put a person there. It is your right to checkmate that person. It is your right to implement to the citizen. But those who are representing all, they now know their function. Oh. And number 2, the history of Liberia. When Ghana was selling gold freely, Ghana began to know that what they were doing, it was wrong at that time. When they begin to start learning today, look at how far Ghana has gone. Ghana got the history concept, and they make it new to themselves. Today, Ghana become one of the territory of Africa to become to be one of the African states.
Thank you very much. This person, good evening.
Good evening. How you doing?
This is Spoon Talk.
This is Senecato coming from the oil room.
Okay.
I really believe that the United States will have to give us a clear information on the arms that were arrested at the Freeport of Monroe, because the government told us that the link came from America. They suspected people, and people were posting on Facebook. Till now, we are not getting any information. The United States is so silent on that. And we are going to elections. The arms that were arrested is worrisome, and we need to know the link. It is very important that we are informed.
Thank you. Thank you. 1 minute. This person, good evening.
Yeah, let me say good evening to all of the panelists. And I heard Fagon saying...
What is your name and where do you call from?
My name is Darlington P. Jackson, and I do join you from a Baptist seminary home. The vice chair for political affairs, Monserrato County ANC. And I'd like to say, I heard Fagon saying our international partners are, encouraging corruption. It's not that our international partners or our traditional partners are encouraging corruption in Liberia. These agreements were signed by our past leaders, and they are on the book. So whether or not we are corrupt, these monies are supposed to come to Liberia. But because our government is so irresponsible, that is why these things are happening. And this is a wake-up call to the opposition community. We should stop sitting and waiting for last minute to time. Right now, Joseph Boakai can name any running mate, Arizona Kumi can name any running mate because they depend on each other.
All right.
Let's stop wasting our time.
All right.
What are we waiting for?
Thank you, my dear brother. This is Spoon Talk. Hello.
Good evening, my brother, and good evening to our listeners around the country.
Yes.
My name is Michael Williams, and I join you tonight from Painesville. You see, I want to thank you all the panelists on the show for analysis. But you see, this is the reason, when the CDC government was coming to power, you could notice that I think for the game of the inauguration, where the president went to make his inaugural speech and then start to acknowledge France and other countries in the Arab war, and people start to have problems with the president and saying, "Oh, the president did not acknowledge America and whatever." For the of the U.S. ambassador, they are clearly to the laboratory that today, indeed, our problems are the Americans for true. Because like what a former minister Pagon just outlined, that alone they are showing that indeed, because they sit in America and they know that they are the world superpower, and they know that it is because of them today they need Liberia, a key from America. That today everybody know that Liberia is our mother. I mean, we are like a child to the mother. Okay. And today we, as a country, we suffer through a lot of problems. And the corrupt leaders are here. They see that they cannot do anything about it. And after then India coming in and making such a statement as a U.S. ambassador and knowing full well that the country is corrupt, and you keep giving money to the same corrupt from government to government. I mean, even the statement you're making about Singapore.
Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you. We have to give others the chance to call. So if you're just joining us, this is Spoon Talk 0777 771075 0555.
And if any one of you guys on the platform get a
okay, right. Let's take this person. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Yes, we are okay. What is your name?
I'm Harris Zennen, calling from Hadel.
Magibby County.
Right. Yeah, I just called to ask the ambassador because he carried us into the forest of ambiguity. His statement, let him really place clarity on it so that we can really know our direction. I mean, that country is the country that we depend on when it comes to straightening all things in Liberia. So, carrying us today, the statement that he made, really, some of us are in doubt. Let him give us some clarity. Thank you.
Let us give us some clarity. Hello.
Hello.
This is Spoon Talk.
Okay, I'm Frederick Horace. I'm calling from the we call it the rehab community, right?
Okay.
I'm actually have been drawn to the corruption the ambassador spoke about. I mean, I want to ask the ambassador what happens to the 3 government officials that were stationed in Liberia. What are they going to do? Now, our country is a gullible country. Our country has a sympathetic mind. It has the propensity for these 3 officials to infiltrate the system again and then get into power one way or another. What are they doing? What is America doing with the central officials? That's the question. Thank you.
Before you take the next caller, we have a U.S. line strictly for Spoon Talk now. So you can see us smiling. Al, if you ever thought that some kind of beautiful lady was going to call your number, you and Gray, you're missing. Nobody calling your number again. We got Spoon Talk got their own number. You're 2, you're out. Complete.
Just a second. I got 2 calls here.
As for Leopold, I ain't even worry about he get phone number from like brother. I have phone number again.
Minister Fagon, are you going to announce the numbers?
Yes.
Numbers that you
take a pen so you can announce that. For callers in the U.S., it's 954-795-6664. I repeat, it's 954-795-6664. 6664. That's the mark of the beast. 03 says it will be scary. But again, the number is 954-795-6664. Callers in the US can use that number and get to their station Spoon Talk.
I got 2 calls here.
Okay. All right.
What about you taking the call in front again?
I think we just deal with one number. We don't want to hear people be calling.
Callers in the US.
Yeah, we want to hear people be calling.
Then post the number. I don't know.
Yeah, the number coming up.
I don't know who's calling my phone, but they could be ANC, they could be CDC.
Good day.
Yeah, I'm putting the number up now.
795-6664.
All right.
You can put it in the form of a comment and
Unfortunately,
stick
they
it
can't
right
take
on there.
private calls again.
Let's move ahead because
Yes,
of time.
yes. As soon as we get an international call, I'm sorry.
This person, yes.
Hello.
Okay.
Byron, please hold on. Your name and where you calling from?
I'm calling you from New Jersey. How you doing, sir?
I'm okay. Go ahead and make your point.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Fagon, for us this number. Thank you for the platform. Guys, I just wanted to say something with regard to the ambassador. This is what I want to say to you guys. If you can recall, on the day that before the announcement of the first sanctions of the Liberian government or Liberian officials, the ambassador had lunch with the president and with the officials of government. Take this as a lunch. In other words, just because he says something that would look like is a praise to the government for some of you guys doesn't mean that he's praising the government. This is politics. In politics, you do not join the gun. There is somebody who's supposed to announce whether there is a sanction or not. The purpose of the ambassador is to make sure to cooperate and to work in collaboration with the government. And that's what he's doing. Mr. McCarthy is doing what he's supposed to do. All I'm asking you is that Mr. Fagon and everybody who's getting annoyed for what the ambassador may have written in his papers, this is similar to having the lunch with Mr. Weir, and after 2-3 days, and he came back and they announced.
Thank you, but I don't think we are annoyed.
Thank you. 1 minute.
We are not annoyed, except you yourself annoyed too, because you came here to give your opinion, so it means you annoyed. So you discussing the thing, so you yourself annoyed. We're not annoyed. We're discussing the thing, and you say we are annoyed. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, let's see.
You got another call?
I'm coming. Let me see if I can. Byron, which of the we did win, the international or local?
Let's do the international.
Hello, your name and where you calling from, Byron? Hold on.
Yeah, my name is Justina Garte, commonly known as Justina Taylor.
Yeah, go ahead, 1 minute.
I just want to use my 1 minute to just say that the ambassador did not call any group of people name. He said people in the diaspora that using the social media. Now you have to know that you got people from the CDC and you also got people from the opposition. So I see no reason why the opposition making it look like they are the one the ambassador we're talking to. The ambassador speak directly for the US government, and so he know on what ground he's speaking from. There are things the ambassador will not explain in public. A lot of people expect you to to come out and point fingers. The ambassador will not point fingers, but let me say this to you. The United States have been watching people in America very carefully. There are people who in America yet think they are doing favor for the government, but they are involved into a lot of things. The last time I said it on my post, I said the CIA and FBI is watching some of you. They will go for you. And people insulted me. So let me say this to the opposition. This is not about opposition and this is not about government. It's about people who want to destabilize the country. Whether they are in government, whether they are in opposition, I stand on the side of justice and I stand on the side of the Liberian people. So you're giving the ambassador to do his job. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Para 3 more, then we will cross over to you.
Okay.
No, we're actually taking 2 more and then we go to Liberia 2 more so that we can have some time.
Hey,
hello.
My name is Tina. I'm calling from Maryland.
All right, go ahead. 1 minute.
Okay, I think it's really confusing to me as I sit here and listen to you all. Instead of you people being outraged that the ambassador has the nerve to open his mouth and say the things that we already know is true in the country,
when America has been our biggest problem thus far. Instead of that, you are looking up to America for what? What have they done so much for us thus far? We need to start doing things for ourselves. This is why we're in the situation that we're in now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One more. Let's get this caller. Good evening.
Thank you so much.
Your name and where you calling from?
Good day. This is Clarence calling from Texas. Honorable Fagon, good job today being the moderator. Thank you to the panel. Let me just respond quickly to what the last one that he said. What she doesn't realize is Liberia and America still have this economic and trading partnership that we need in America. You really want to listen to the ambassador's speech today. Get all the points. First of all, he started by telling us about the progress Liberia has made with FGMs compared to the population and things like that. That's female genital mutilation. Okay, he talked about all of the different progress we have made. And I thought that was hopeful. He also spoke then about the problems we have. Besides the progress we made, the problems we have. I'm not going to talk a lot about it. I think I would encourage everyone to go and listen to his speech and listen to his speech clearly. But one of the things he said, 2 points I will highlight. And one is, this problem of corruption goes way back to the founding of Liberia. That's number one. And he emphasized specifically about the countries Singapore and what kind of progress they have made. Also, where they came from the same place where Liberia was.
Thank you, boss.
We need to look at those countries, Singapore, Switzerland, Sweden, all of those countries that eliminate corruption and try to learn from them. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
We'll go to Baron. Baron, give us at least 2 calls from the local lines.
Okay. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Dennis calling you from New Georgia.
Yeah, Dennis.
Yeah, I want to say thanks to the panelists. I've been following Spoon Talk from day to day, and I enjoy the way they conduct the show. You know, I noticed that the show is not, one-sided. And, usually Fagon bring a new flavor to the show. And I say thank you to Fagon. Fagon, why is it that you left the government?
You got Fagon blushing.
Find the government this way. That's the question to Fagon. I hope you answer it. And another thing I want to say about the American government and the ambassador. 1997, anybody can recall, 1997 when we were going to election that brought started us to power. That right got in the street and said, you came and mine, you came and pa, I will vote for you. 2003, when the war started fighting, what American did, they closed their doors on Liberian that was trying to seek refuge. Now they are raising the red flag. We're seeing Liberia running behind government officials that were sanctioned. Example, McGill. Liberia running behind him, say he must take power. God forbid, Sunday ready to pack out. And maybe when they turn their back on us, they will start spoiling their name. It's better to take you when the thing is not yet happening. We Liberians, we don't believe in the preventive method. We believe in the security. And that's the bad thing we do in this country.
All right.
These are keeping the country down.
Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you.
Take the last caller so that we can move to
the last
closing.
caller. This person, what? Hello.
This is Ricardo. On the aspect of
your line is breaking up. Your line is breaking up. Change your location. Hello.
Hello. You get it now?
Yes.
This is Stanley Carter. What I want to say when it comes to the aspect of corruption, the Americans are the ones that are mostly suppressing or and encouraging corruption because past government, previous government, and current government officials, family, they are in the United States, and when they take the money from Liberia, they send the money to the family there. They use it to pay taxes, and so that is it's just that they are enjoying what is happening in Liberia. So there is no need that they complain about corruption. Let our people continue to steal the money and take it to America and use it to pay taxes and live that luxurious life.
Thank you.
I think they are benefiting from that.
Thank you. I think they are benefiting from corruption. Okay, Minister Fagon, that's it.
All right, we're gonna go to our closing. You know, guys, let's face it. Enough Fagon not bring flavor. All I can bring flavor like bring for Plaza Leo. Every day Leo won't be serious. Like he the most serious man. But when he go like bro, he wears some kind of rush coat. He be laughing with all the children and he can't tell us they not do service in school. Who responsible for you not doing service? Your generation king, we're talking to you ain't one listen.
Now the war that you brought me, we're not doing service. The war you people brought.
And the same war now that not in, you say you're no more than all.
The war not
You
finished.
try your small. You're running all around the play with Beseninibi. Then you say that good shoe you're wearing. But anyways, it is what it is. The people enjoy us. We all take the glory. Yeah. Dr. Francina here today. But we begin our closing with Koroyi Remy Gray.
I don't know if the show has been jammed, but you really coming back, you know, not too clear, Fango. It seems as though your line is jammed. Anyway.
Don't mind the man. The man, he may sell low mess. I think I your hero.
You go down on the step in the basement and he said, I want problem. No problem, Remy Gray.
All right. In 1997, I was a student under the now Minister of Justice, law student under the now Minister of Justice, teaching business law. And in that same year, I was also under the tutelage of other professors that are still at the law school today. The idea that I was not in school after the war, one has to mark which after the war. We graduated thanks to Patrick Sayon, may he so rest in peace. We came back to the University of Liberia. Some of us at least were able to graduate.
He buffering. All right. We'll give him his other 1 minute when he comes back. We'll go over to you, Al Hussein, UJ Fadiga.
Well, I'll close on this. The Americans, I listened to also. The American can be hypocritical too. There's more to that Singapore story. There are a lot of things we need to take into consideration. It's easier to say, why are you guys not doing this thing? And why are you guys doing the history of Africa and the history of why we are lacking now our Western counterpart is deeply rooted in a lot of things. Racism, colonial, the colonization of different countries and different things. So there's more to that story. I was doing a read up on Singapore. The British left a system in place that for them to work on. We had to start from scratch. So Liberia faces some of the problems that most countries in Africa didn't face. We had to start and fend for ourselves on day one. But I think the Americans or the ambassador can go a step further. I don't think he said what he said was bad. I don't think he said anything bad to the point about people talking. Americans do that. You got Fox News, you got different news. Right now, Fox News is being sued for giving false information. So I don't think he meant it to be a negative thing. But I think the American can go a step further by, like one of the comments I was reading here said, the American need to go a step further. Those that were sanctioned, is it just sanctioned? These people are still trying to vie for office. They were sanctioned, but the next thing you see them running for office, holding position in government. Our legislature that they talk about, if they truly believe that our legislature is corrupt, let them use the Magnitsky Act. These people come here every now and then. I think they will be doing us a service if they go after each one of them, each one of our lawmakers, and put them on the Magnitsky indictment. That way we know that they mean business. But until then, I think the ambassador is just being playing lip service. There's more going on in the country that they need to talk about. And if they truly want us to move forward, they will start giving these people money. They know where the problem is. Rather than speaking about it, they can take a step further. Put all of them on indictment.
Thank you. We're right on the mark. Leo Lipolo, you got 2 minutes. We're now at 6:30.
Can Gude please share something that I asked him to share for my closing remarks?
It will not be bad to you. Don't share no party with two
Gude, can you share what I asked you to share? It's right in your chat room.
Gude say he going to stir his soup. But start up because of time.
I was about to share a diplomatic memo for Henry Kissinger, exactly almost 48 years ago today, March 17, 1975. when the then president, okay, here is the letter. When Henry Kissinger was then sending a memo to the US president, who had just criticized a Liberian diplomatic appointee directly on African affairs, telling him directly, President Tolbert, expression of dismay of US interference into Liberian affairs by having statements made against a Liberian appointed diplomat. And Henry Kissinger in this memo is urging the US president to come back and literally reverse their remarks that came from the US government at the time against the Liberian government. This is 1975. We are playing, thank you, Ogude. We are playing Russian roulette here. 1 second, small thing happening in the country, all our lawmakers, including John the Cry, and go to the US embassy to demonstrate and say the US embassy should come. Another second, the US slap sanctions. Everybody who against the government jump on the US government side and say the US government got it right. Another second, the US government says something that doesn't seem to favor one side. Everybody jump on the other side. We will have to decide. We are either a country that is prepared to hold and chastise our institutions, our governments. When have I seen the outrage from us Liberians about this? But we can't eat from both sides of our mouths, right? Are you kidding me? People saying this is a diplomatic remark. This is not a diplomatic remark. The US ambassador was blunt and direct. It doesn't get more blunt like this. A diplomatic remark would have been a note to the Liberian government or a complaint of the Liberian government to some of the international partners. The US embassy has direct a channel to the Liberian government. If they do have concerns, they have the direct channel to go to the Liberian government. My question is, what is the US government hoping to achieve, or the US embassy hoping to achieve, by publicly coming to the Liberian population and saying this? Some of the people they are accusing of statements in the United States who live here in the United States, they live under US laws. Some of them are US citizens. You go to Liberia to go complain, the people then to oil in the diaspora, why you can't hold them accountable? Some of them are your citizens, they live in your country, they live under US law. So the question is, where does the US stand? Does it want to only interfere when it is convenient and then take a step back when it's not convenient and say it's not their responsibility to do certain things? I think we need to ask this question for ourselves as Liberians to help define a healthy relationship with the United States rather than using the US as the playbook for which we can target each other and fight among ourselves, depending on which side we think the US is on. Regardless of which side the US is on, we need to let the US know that as partners, we want to work with you, but we don't want to work with you selectively whenever you choose. We want to work with you in the ways that make sense in respecting our sovereignty and in respecting our relationships. And you can take decisions to chastise that relationships, but please let us not be selective about it.
I can't hear you, Fango.
Well, if I could read your lips, I think I heard my name.
It's 6:32. I'll give you your 1 minute 30 seconds. Wrap it up so we can go over.
You're not stealing my time, my man. Be careful. No, but a lot has been said. And we really, just the last part of Leo is something that a communist government will look at. Redefining the relationship with the United States. We got to bring more to the table in this relationship, in defining the structure, in charting our own path. We're not saying we can do everything by ourselves, no. But the partnerships we built with the US and its allies, you know, it got to be an ecosystem where we are at the table, we are a functional partner, and we're contributing something. Right now, it seems like, you know, the ambassador can basically say whatever, and there's no, I don't want to say pushback, but no engagement, no mutual discussion on some of these things and how they come about. And that's where we are lacking in terms of what we bring to the table. Even we look at our folks when they go to international conferences or whatever. What are their contributions? What are the contributions of Liberia to all these national panels that, you know, our officials visit? We don't see any substantive contribution. That has to change for us to be an integral part of these things. Corruption has to be broken down into bite sizes for our people to understand the impact of corruption on development, on the health, on the education, on the quote unquote social security, on how they are getting these things. And this rests with the opposition. We have to do a better job of educating our people. And yes, civics is extremely important, especially for these elections coming up. People go register to vote. Forget about who you're going to vote for at this point. Just register to exercise your franchise as a citizen. as a responsible citizen who wants to be involved in the political process. You hear us saying the legislature hold a significant responsibility in ensuring the country goes in the right path. This seems like the executive. So registering to vote helps you to be a determiner, somebody who has influence on who goes into those different chairs that lead us. And it's very important that we all participate. And even if we're not in Liberia today, let's encourage people on the ground to go and participate in the voter registration process. It's a very short time, and they have set up an electronic system that will be fraught with fraud, because you can go online and call 50,000, 100,000 people can register online, and you can go and purchase fingerprint and other identifiers that are biometric identifiers, and you can have people in this voter registration system. So that was a topic I wanted to bring up, Eugene, but we didn't have the time. But we can always talk about it, the potential that fraud will be so evident in these elections, especially with the increment of numbers in the Southeast, the proximity we know to the borders and everything, and the fact that is when the NEC were doing a recent recruitment for people who will be doing all the voter registration, they were basically, sidelining many other people, and primarily Seditians were being put there. So it's not a big deal for them to take the machine over the border in Guinea or Ivory Coast or Sierra Leone and register people. Thank you.
Connor Iremi, great. 1 minute, 30 seconds. Wrap up because you have already gone over halfway.
Thank you so much. But one of the things I stressed on when I taught at the adjunct level at the University of Liberia teaching foreign policy was our civic responsibility to that of our international allies. We are not a yes ma, yes sir country. Gone are the days when we used to lead international, organizations and international conferences. We have recused ourselves to be the self-serving country that just, suck up to other countries. All because our leadership lacks the capacity to even understand its own role or their own role. So normally it's good for our university students to understand our relationship with other countries, that we're bilateral partners. You understand? This is not a unilateral relationship. This is a bilateral relationship. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. We are taxpayers, us based in the United States. We have a way of checkmating the ambassador. It happened before with his predecessor when she crossed the line and she lost her job. But so when he speaks, he should speak with clarity, and he should make sure that he's not talking to his children, but he's talking to people who also have a right to exercise their right. And I hope we'll put him in check further to know that as a citizen of Liberia as well, we have equal privilege to checkmate our government the way we see fit.
Thank you. Well, folks, we had a great show tonight, and let me say thanks to all of you as I do this short 1 minute closing. With respect to the ambassador, it sometimes makes me wonder. You have this child that you gave birth to. You claim he's an old man now, he should go on his own. But whenever he goes and get a lady, you say, no, I don't want that one. Today, the chicken is passing by the rooster is going by his business. The dog is still waiting to hear what's going to happen that is going to be actionable. And let me say this to everybody. It's like America still does not see Liberia, in my opinion, as an independent country. Yet she does not want or is not willing to let Liberia be under the control of Chinese, Russians, French, or British. Why do I say so? When the British recognized Liberia's independence, America said, hell no. Till today, the history is there. We cannot rewrite it. But every time Liberia turns this way, we're like, come back home, kids. We do. And I think it's about time. When the Civil War started in Sierra Leone, British soldiers, British forces entered Sierra Leone, boots on the ground, and helped put an end to that brutal civil war. When the situation happened in neighboring Ivory Coast, French soldiers, boots on the ground, put an end to it. I want to say to the American ambassador that every time you come to us to complain about corruption and bad governance, do you realize that the people who carry out these things wind up in the United States living a luxurious life? Today, many of them now are taking their loots to Abu Dhabi, to Gambia, to Ghana, and I'm naming these countries because that's where they're taking their loots and storing it. Yet, you continue to do business with them and you complain. But the truth of the matter is, these things are happening, not strange to us, not strange to you. But what actions are being taken to ensure that these things are brought to a halt? So when Mr. Ambassador asked the question, how did it happen? It's true because they said no to corruption. It's true because they took the necessary course of actions to stop it. But with the United States saying you are corrupt, but yeah, it's another 150 million. You don't have good governance, but here is another amount of money. Today, when we look in our country, we see Tapita hospitals, Chinese. The modern airport we have, Chinese. The modern ministerial complex, Chinese. We can go on and on and on. It is not in our best interest as people who know daddy to be the United States of America, which is the greatest country. It's like we are your children, but our uncles and aunties are the ones taking care of us. To me, the American ambassador needs to step up. Step up the game where he will say, look, you guys are our children. We will do what we can to help you make progress. But when your dad is complaining about you, the child, what does he expect you to do? You're just a child, and you are not just able to do things the way he wants you. He will need to step up and step in and make the right things happen. With that said, we want to thank all of you for your contribution. We want to thank our Liberian people for their contribution. And we want to say, may God bless the Liberian people. We hope to see you all tomorrow with a different topic. I'm sorry Dr. Francine was not here, Baron, to close at 6:30. But I'm sure you're happy that your red handkerchief is still waving tonight on the holiday. Thank you. And thank you, gentlemen.
Oh man, I see you. You're off the air, right? Oh, you're still on? All right, you enjoy.
Well, this is how I love to take leave of you. The invitation is yours to join us tomorrow for another splendid edition of the program, Spoon Talk. Do have a God bless day for my end. Bye-bye.